Well, well, well. Hi everyone. We've just come to the end of this podcast episode, and the lovely Victoria and Peter, who I've just interviewed, have just left. Every now and again, a podcast and an interview and a discussion is a little bit special. And this interview today has just left me speechless. We've had laughter, we've had tears, we've had spirit communication and validations. Peter and Victoria have set up the most amazing organisation and charity for people who are struggling with grief, bereavement, all across all the spectrum. Parents who have lost children. Vicky herself, unfortunately, lost her child, which is the driving force behind the organisation. Peter, unfortunately, lost the love of his life, his wife, but also is having to come to terms with a terminal illness himself, which is just, how do you get your head around that? But he's dedicated his life with Victoria to setting up this amazing, the foundation, which is Forever Luca. If you can do me one thing, watch this podcast. Share it with as many people as you can. Allow as many people as you know to watch this podcast. Not only will it show you there's amazing people out there doing amazing stuff. It'll show you how people have turned adversity into something. I don't want to say into triumph, because these people, they'll never be the same again. They know that, they accept that, and they're trying to make the best of the world now. And it's remarkable to see it. I'm just in awe of the human spirit of certain people. These two people today are everything that, you could only look up to. Amazing. And hopefully they'll get the credit that they deserve, even though they're not even looking for that. Their mission is so much greater than recognition or credit. But if we could just spread the word, they've got some fantastic charity events coming up. There's a link where we're going to ask people, look, if you can, put your hand in your pocket and donate and help their organisation. There's so many people that will resonate with grief and losing a child and dealing with cancer. And Vicky's a fully qualified bereavement counsellor. Dave's doing all the marketing and pushing it and just doing everything he can, which under these current circumstances is phenomenal. I'm just honoured that I've been able to open up this platform for them to have a discussion and share their story and their mission with me. It's not even the podcast what I thought was turning up today. I thought I had something else booked in. And it all started this morning before they even got here. I was already getting spiritual communication and messages while I was having a shower this morning, and I shared that with Vicky, what you'll see, and we finished the podcast off with a few little messages from the spirit world of validation that they're around, and it's just great. And hopefully people who can see this, they might do something similar in their town or their area where they live. If there's anybody local, you might be able to reach out and you might want to be part of it and help. I've threw my hat into the ring. I'm going to be giving my services. If anyone's suffering with grief and bereavement, then let's get them down here. Let's, if a reading or mediumship, and if that's something that you feel you would get comfort from, then listen, I'm all for that. But just watch this podcast. Subscribe to the channel, because this is what we're all about. This podcast today was what Drake, Michigan was set up for. And So subscribe, leave a comment. I hope you enjoy it. Let's really push this one. Let's make this one go bigger than any other podcast we've ever done. I think it deserves it. And hope you enjoy it. Let's welcome Vicky and Peter. Before we start, I need to give a big shout out to how this platform is even possible. And that is predominantly by you, the listeners, who not just tune in each episode, but you take the action in your own lives and purchase things like our transformative online manifestation course and the supporting Create Your Dreams journal. It's by you, the subscribers, purchasing the wonderful products that we promote, from the likes of Masterpiece, your heavy metal detox supplement, to Strong Life for all your premium health products, and of course, Natural Shilajit. So I'm having a shower this morning.
Yeah.
Right? But this is what's good. So I want to explain to you what I'm getting, because then we can always say, okay, like you might just say, I don't understand that at all.
Yeah, I get you. Yeah.
Okay. But also I know as well, so like when I'm stood there this morning, I'm having a shower and I'm closing my eyes, and I thought, oh, what's that? Right? And then so straight, the first thing that come into my vision was a footballer called Jorginho, right?
Yeah.
Now he used to play for Chelsea, plays for Arsenal now, right? And he is Italian, or Sicilian, or you know, that kind of thing.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. So this is what I was saying. So straight away, so when I'm seeing he's walked into me, I'm thinking, oh, I can feel like, oh, someone's trying to tell me something here.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's literally how something started this morning. Okay. So then, so I've just put mental note right now. Then what happened is, I could see this gentleman, which was not Jorginho, by the way, right? So I know that's information. That's spirit trying to tell me, explain something to me. Okay. But then I can see another gentleman who stood at the edge of the road, right? Now I feel this is your son's dad, right?
Okay.
Now, because this is the way that, you know, I can't help it. What comes from, but this is how it felt to me.
Yeah.
Okay. I felt this gentleman, and this is the way he come through. He stood at the edge of the road, and he's got a kid with him, right? And he's got a dog on his chest here, which looked like a little like bulldog thing or something like this. Okay. And he's also got a 3-wheeled like scooter tricycle thing. Okay. Mm-hmm. And basically, so now, and so as I'm seeing these pictures, I'm also feeling stuff, right? Now, what it made me feel was, I was there until he crossed over, and then I had to leave. Okay?
Yeah.
So it made me feel like he was saying, like, I'm not sure if this kid's dad's around anymore. I'm not sure if he basically they split up after he's passed and he's had to leave. He can't take it. That's the way it was making me feel.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
Then also what we have to remember is now, so when the spirit are showing me something like the 3-wheeled tricycle thing.
Yes.
Right, so what they're bringing my attention to is, one, yeah, it could just be a toy, okay? But there's more to it than that, because the spirits are trying to tell you like a million things all at the same time. So I know the 3 is important, okay? So it'll be like the 3rd, an age. There'll be a reason why I'm saying 3, because they're making me feel it.
Yes.
Okay? Then what's happening then is, again, yeah, so I put like, so again, it could even be March, but do you know what I mean? So I know I have to what's called there. Also, I could see a pair of goalkeeper's gloves in the man's hand, right? Now again, so what spirits are trying to do is they're trying to explain something to me as I'm watching stuff, right? Goalkeeper, what they're trying to say is tried to save, right?
Yeah,
so
yeah.
I know they're trying to explain something about someone trying to save someone, having to walk away. So what it is, they're building me a picture. They're telling me, they're trying to explain to me the best they can of something what's happened around the whole situation.
Yeah.
Okay? Then, which was interesting, I saw a massive snake. Okay? Mm-hmm. Again, as I'm looking at it, again, okay, you could say, is it a toy? then you start thinking, was the gentleman a snake? I don't know yet, but what I'm saying is it was just, what's it called?
Yes.
Okay?
Yeah.
What happens then is, as well, I was taken to a graveyard, and I saw this snake coming through the graveyard, which makes me think there's something that I need to acknowledge, or something that's happened around this whole situation as well, which people might feel uncomfortable, or something that happened what shouldn't have happened, or something's not been resolved yet, or so I know there's something going on there. Okay? Then so some of them also good. I know they're weird, right? I was showed a pigeon, right, and it was being like released like that,
Yeah.
right, but it was just one bird. Right, okay, so it's like, okay, so again, all I'm doing is acknowledging what I'm seeing, what I'm feeling, what someone's trying to put on me, okay? So again, is this like, it could be something like, oh no, a bird got released, or I don't know, anything, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
At this stage, all I'm doing is just having a shower, writing down what I'm getting, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But then what I was as well is, I got took to a gravestone, a headstone, okay? And what I was showed was on this headstone was like this, like a plaque, and on one side there's a picture, and on one side there's like a poem or a verse, and so someone's making me look at that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So again, and this again. So this morning I'm being just filled with like all this information and whatever, and at that stage I'm thinking, oh, is this anything to do with you today? Blah blah blah. And then it's okay. Let's see what happens. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's so at that stage. Oh, and that's why I wrote the 20th as well. So at that stage, all I'm doing there is I'm like asking Spirit, right? Okay, Vicky's coming. Vicky's coming today.
Yeah.
If there's anything you want me to know, start letting me know. And I'm saying like, look, protect me, God. If Luca can come through, join us today. Pass information, anything.
Yeah.
So that's basically.
Amazing.
Do you know what I mean? So that's basically what I've been happening today.
Yeah. No, that is. So the beginning bit you said, so me and his dad are split up. Was that what you were trying to indicate?
Yeah. I mean, again,
be?
Let's be honest. I mean, this is the other thing, right?
Yeah.
From my position as a medium, it's like, really, what you want to do is look, I know what's happened.
Yeah. Yeah.
When you're having a reading, it's almost like you have to sort of. I'm getting better. Like at one time, like what you'll find a lot of mediums doing. Everything else, they'll say like, oh, I feel like I've got a dad or a granddad or what? No, what a load of crap. Spirit don't do that. You know who it is, and I know what I want to say to you. Let's be honest, what we don't want to do is hurt the person's feelings, or we don't want to be like blunt with them. But in some ways, you want to, right?
Yeah.
So it's like even on that now, like if you said, no, none of that makes sense, right? I know it does.
Mm.
I know, because I know that what can happen is my interpretation of what they're trying to explain to me could be wrong, right? So it's like what I'm thinking, or thinking they're trying to tell me. You could be sat there thinking that's not what they're trying to tell you.
Mm.
I know what they're trying to tell you there, right? So there's that kind of thing, and then obviously as well. What you have to remember is this morning when I had a shower, we've never met each other before.
I know.
So then you have to say, hold on, so where's this information coming from? Is this my guide? Is this the spirit of whoever? Who knows? Do you know what I mean? So again, I've got all these emotions and feelings. Now, I know people just want to come down and be told everything, but like, this is the exciting bit from my side. I'm like, look, I'm trying to get to the bottom of what they're trying to explain to you. Because if I can understand what they're trying to tell me to tell you and explain, this is going to be the best information that you're ever gonna, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's I'm rambling again, but you know what I mean. That's what I'm trying to say. So again, what I was saying, as it come through, my first thing was it was almost like I'm going to use the name Luca, even though I've not been told that. I know you've told me his name is Luca. Up to this stage, I've not been told any age, any sexuality, and I've not been told nothing as of yet from the spirit side of life.
Yeah.
Okay. But what I have been told is a feeling of, I know my dad was there until the end or something, but then he's left.
Okay.
And someone's letting me know they had to leave after. So I know there's something gone on there.
Yeah.
Okay. Now again, there'll be a reason why they're acknowledging that. Because of all the information, what's it called? there must. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Maybe he might need some closure. Do you know what I mean? Do you know what I mean? I've got to be honest. The gentleman in my picture there I saw as well. He come across again. So when you see stuff, it could be personalities, blah blah blah. But he come across as a bit older than you, and a bit more so, and he was quite well dressed, right?
Could it be my dad?
I don't want to say anything.
I don't want
like
to.
that.
I'm scared
because what we don't want to do is try and make it fit. But do you know what I mean? So that man who stood at the side of that road this morning, if he's someone else, then during a reading we want to know from them who's that.
Yeah.
But the information is not going to change. The fact that I need to acknowledge that kid's dad. It was the split up and he's had to move on because that was the message.
Yeah.
Okay.
I get you.
Yeah, so that was just obviously a few things I just wanted to...
And the 3, he was 3.5 when he died.
Okay, so that would... So if it's 3 again, so that would be good.
Yeah.
That would be good confirmation.
Yeah.
Where would the, olive skin or the Sicilian or something like that come in? Do you know? Would you understand that?
My dad was half Spanish.
Spanish, so he's got the...
Yeah, his mum was full Spanish, so he looked like Sevi Ballesteros. Do you know the golfer? He looked
So this is where... I wouldn't want to make it fit, but I could understand why they're showing me... They've shown me this Jorginho, who's got the olive skin and he's that kind of way.
Yeah.
But for me, I'd be a bit disappointed because I'd be like, well, why don't you fucking tell me Spanish, instead of Italian? The only thing I would say
he's got an Italian name, hasn't he? Luca's got an Italian name.
Oh, yeah. So
that's what that is.
Yeah, Luca's got an Italian... Yeah, that's an Italian name. Yeah. So there's a few things, but when information flows through, you will not have to piece it together.
No.
You won't. I swear, anybody, it drives me nuts. So if you get these people who say, oh, someone take the corner of my eye or cobwebs on my face, it's crap, right? And spirit do not come through to tell you about your best friend's friend's friend. They don't.
No,
they're coming through to give you a message to let you know they're all right, to let you know what's happening in your life.
Yeah.
And anything, I can't take anything else apart from that. If someone, they could be the best medium in the world, but if they start telling me, I'm just going to go, not for me.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So anyway, and what's the code? Now, afterwards, this is funny, right, so, and obviously you only can take my word for this. So you sent me a picture, but I only saw it this morning in the kitchen. I saw the picture yesterday but never took much notice of it. It's to do with your counselling leaflet.
Oh, yes. Yeah, we sent that through.
In that leaflet is the dog, what was in the man's arms.
A French bulldog.
I don't know what they are, but it was right.
Yes, and
right.
That's my dog.
Right. Now, the thing is, though, there'll be a reason why I was seeing the man hold it on his chest. Right, so he either acknowledges that the dog's been bought, or there might be a name, or there'll be some relevance to that dog. I
promised Luca a dog when he was alive, and Luna was the dog that I promised him. Obviously, he never got to meet Luna.
And that is why they're acknowledging you got the dog because you made the promise.
Yeah,
so
I made the promise.
I knew what would happen is it would either you've named the dog something that would be relevant, or it must have
Luna,
been...
she's called. But similar to Luca, just one.
But there's a reference from Spirit knowing that you got the dog.
I promised the dog.
So, would it make sense? So, is your dad, is he also over there?
Yes.
So, it's your dad who's with your lad.
That's exactly what I was thinking when you said it.
He's with
him.
He was there to meet him. When he stood at the road, he was there to meet him when he's crossed over.
Yeah, and this is exactly what Jimmy Walker said. My dad's the one looking after him.
Right, okay.
And my dad died 4 months before Luca was...
Don't tell me nothing!
Sorry.
Nothing!
Well, he's dead.
Yeah. But this is where... I mean, listen, I could talk for days about it because, because this is where it gets exciting, because Spirit are telling us everything.
Yeah,
They're
really
proving to us, right?
I know.
And what he's saying is, so now when I'm watching that, and I'm like, okay, so why are you stood at the road there? And then when I'm seeing the 3, and he's telling me, look, I've saved him, I've waited, when he crossed over, he's 3, and there's so much information there.
Yeah, there really is.
What's literally been flashed in my head quicker than AI.
Yeah.
and I'm seeing it and I'm feeling it and I'm thinking, this is fucking ace. But now I need to understand it.
Yeah.
And it's only through talking to the person.
No, that makes sense.
But we have to do it in a way where I'm telling you what I've got and then we work it out rather than you trying to tell me stuff and then I'm like, because that is then, that's like...
that all made sense, everything on that list, with a bit of obviously piecing it together. It made sense when you said all that.
But I reckon if people, when they went for a reading, right, I think what happens, people go for a reading and what they're doing is they want the person to prove what they're doing.
Yeah, they do.
Right?
They do.
Which, I get that, especially if you're paying money, but so take the money away.
Yeah.
Now let's just get the information.
Yeah, I get you.
Do you know what I mean? Because now we're going to learn everything, right? Because the thing is as well, this what you have to remember is as well, once you've opened the box, and like you can confirm, we don't die, there's something else and all the rest of it.
Yeah.
There's no closing the box. What happens then is, now you have to say, well, what else do I know?
Yeah.
What else is happening in this world? And then you start things like vibrations, frequencies, blah, blah, blah. Then, do you know what I mean? And so now we have to start to understand everything, and then we all start to understand everything is part of a divine plan.
Yeah.
Which is that's hard to take. That's, do you know what I mean?
Because I know.
How can losing a kid be part...
Yeah, I know.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
How can you have them conversations? Like, you could probably have a conversation because it's been so many years.
Yeah.
In the early years, could you imagine if someone sat in front of you and said...
I know. I would have sobbed my heart out.
You'd slap them as
well. I know.
You'd think,
I would have been distraught.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, what we'll do is, again, we'll come back to all this and we'll see what we can get.
Yeah.
And like I said,
it's
even if we have to have future one-on-one readings and blah, blah, blah. Okay, so let's see. Okay, so this is what happens, right? So now, as we're talking, I can feel, but someone's putting like a little blanket on me, right? And I can feel like this little, what you'd rub on your face, like a little blanket thing, right? So I know something's going on at the side of me.
I know, I'm getting goosebumps.
Okay, but also as well, so even if, like, on the head, if there is a head...
there is a headstone, yes.
There'll be a reason why they were telling me about this little plaque.
Yeah.
So would you understand that?
Yeah, I completely understand.
Because this is what they showed me, and this is what I want people to understand. So, like, because sometimes when you see something... What's a good example of... I'll tell you. Okay, just going off track, right. So I had someone come and see me not so long back, right? And basically the energy of the person was coming through, and he was coming through as Jack Sparrow. Right, the Pirates of the Caribbean. Yeah. He wasn't saying he was Jack Sparrow.
Yeah.
But what he was telling me, he was a petty thief. He was a criminal. But his heart was in the right place.
I get you.
He was telling me his personality.
Yeah.
So when I'm seeing, like, someone else might say, oh, do you understand what a pirate is? I'm like, no. Spirit are explaining to you, this was me in life. This was my personality. I wore, a standing citizen. I was a bit of a dickhead.
Yeah, I get
you. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Now, when I was watching that picture this morning, on this frame, which was like a little black frame where I saw, there was a baby, right, of, I don't know, maybe 1.5 years or something like that, with a big smile on his face there, and there was some kind of verse there. Now, if that's actually what it is, that'd be fucking ace. That'd be amazing. But also, even if it's not, what they're doing is they're explaining to me, mention that I know about that.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean? So, and that's what I want people to know about. That kind of stuff.
I get you. There's no picture, but there's a verse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. But again, so whether I don't know, but that's what I was being showed. Okay.
Yeah. No, I get you.
And so the dog, obviously the olive skin makes sense.
Yeah.
Your dad makes sense.
Yeah. So that's all true.
Again, there will be a reason why I saw the snake as well. Right.
Can I say?
Yeah.
Yeah, we went to Tenerife when he was 2, and we brought back a massive toy snake, which we've still got.
Yes! Get in there!
Yeah, that as soon as you said that, I thought, that's a snake.
Now, again, so what... Ow!
I know. Not just a random snake, is it?
This was a big, massive snake. And
it's a big, massive snake.
But this is the thing. 15 years ago, I wouldn't have told people what I'm seeing. because I would have been too...
You didn't have the confidence.
I thought, yeah, because I was told they're going to think I'm silly.
Yeah.
It's not my reading,
silly.
is it?
No, you're
it's
being
yours.
Yeah.
It's all I am is just a channel who's trying to tell you stuff what I'm seeing.
Yeah, exactly.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Oh, that's made my day there.
Yeah.
Right, so again,
there was a snake. And he loved that snake.
And again, there'll be a reason why I kept seeing the one bird, the pigeon as well. So again, we'll see where that comes in. If it doesn't spring to mind now, but we'll find out. But there'll be a reason why I saw it.
We rescued a bird which is still in captivity. Well,
okay, but let's not go. But it might be. It might be that. But again, yeah. Okay. Oh, I'm glad. Yeah. Okay.
I know. No, that's amazing.
No, so this is the thing as well. Like again, we don't go to talk, but so like, I've done readings for people I've never met on the other side of the world, right? And I've still to this day never met them. How?
Yeah.
Right. So I released a thing last night. I don't know if you saw it. Right.
No,
so
I've not seen it.
I did a recording in January 2023, right? And Anthony said to me, he said, "What's Spirit telling you, Kev? A prediction?" And so I closed my eyes and I watched. And as soon as I closed my eyes and I watched, I saw Charles coming down the red carpet, and he was falling all over the place. Mm-hmm. And they said to me, the king comes down with an illness and he has to take time off from his duties and he has to step down. Something happens, watch that space. Right? So I recorded it back in 2023.
Oh my God.
And anyway, so I found that clip out and I took it and I thought...
I'm getting goosebumps,
right?
yeah.
So now you're starting to ask questions. How the fuck can you tell someone stuff... Right? Now I've told people stuff what's happened, like it's going to happen in 3 or 4 years from now.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And I can explain it because it's what happens is where all your energy is going, you've already created so much of your future.
Yeah.
But what you can do is you can alter your future by going in a different direction today. And that's when they say you can change your life right now with your thoughts, because you can. Because if you carry on what you're doing in your life, it's on a trajectory at the moment. Yeah. And that's why people go through all this turmoil. So like say you left here today and you went, I'm going to be a bartender. Or something, like that, right? So what's happened then is, so your whole life now is going to come to a skidding stop. Certain people are not going to resonate with you anymore. Certain people are just going to fall out with you, blah, blah, blah. What are you doing, Vicky, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
You're going to go off in a different direction. They're pissed off because you've affected their life, because it's the ripple effect and the ripple's been disturbed.
Yeah.
And your whole life, now, so you'll go through this turmoil and then suddenly you'll be back on a straight path and you're doing what you want to do in life.
Yeah.
And,
it makes sense.
Do you know, and when I was a kid, I was born and from a very early age. And because looking back now, it's easy to understand a few things that happened to me as a kid. I'm like, fucking, I was having experiences and I didn't know.
Yeah.
Right?
Okay.
But I got told, like, from the universe or whatever, when I was a very young kid, whatever you do in life, try not to hurt people's feelings.
Yeah.
And I thought, what a silly thing to think. Like, but my parents used to say, I don't know where it come from, Kev, but you always used to say it as a kid. Try not to hurt people's feelings, because it has a ripple effect and it ripples through generations. If I upset you today, I'll upset your partner. Everyone.
No, it does, yeah.
Do you know
no,
what I mean?
That's so true.
Anyway, so we'll keep going off track.
Yeah,
but
it's
anyway,
all right.
We need to ask God. So, anyway.
Yeah, so that's all true, isn't it, pretty much?
Belted. But this is the good thing. That's 10 seconds in the show this morning, right? When we get Spirit come through, I'll shit you not. I'll be sat here and I've opened my eyes and Spirit must use our energy to come through.
Yeah.
Sometimes I've opened
You're
my
the
eyes.
vessel.
They are sat on you. They are literally, it's crazy. I've had people sat in front of me before when I've been doing a reading like this, and I've opened my eyes and they're like, and I'm like, what's the matter? And then, you disappeared. And I went, what do you mean? And they're like, someone else come through and like talking to him, and I'm like, fuck off. But I don't even know that's happened.
Also, the Italian, could be. He loved Guido and Luigi in cars.
Okay, but I'm not going to... Oh, yeah, again.
Am I all right talking on here about Luca?
Listen, listen. No. Yeah, I want you to freely speak, but what the only thing is, right, so like, this is all I say now. So, like if I was sat here now and I said, I've got a message there, he wants me to mention about these toy cars with Louis...
Yeah, Guido and Luigi.
I've already... Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I know.
That's the only reason... I want you to talk about everything.
Yeah.
Let's be honest.
Yeah.
From my point of view, and I want to prove to people the connection and what we're doing.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? We want to prove there's life after death. Because ultimately as well, you know, all these people that this charity that and like the grieving and they've lost people to suicide and all this kind of stuff. Yeah. Can you imagine what it can do for them?
I can imagine.
You can look at life from a whole different angle. You know him full well. Healing. Okay, in body, your son's no longer here.
Yeah.
Oh, but he's here.
He is. He's
do you know what I mean?
This is just a vessel, isn't it?
Yes.
What we're in.
So suddenly, when we can start looking at life like that we do die.
Yes. And
there is a reason, and it's hard as it can.
I've kind of taken on that concept myself.
And also as well, I know this is going to sound weird. Sometimes, you know, some people die because they have to help you from the other side of life, the stuff that you're going through in this life.
Yeah, no, I
now,
get that.
That is absolutely...
Yeah,
right.
No, that makes
sense.
sense.
So you could have lost someone who's helping you without you knowing it, this side of life, while you're still here, because how would you have got through it? They knew they had to take... Now, could you imagine, from a spirit point of view, someone's come down and said, I'm going to be that person, your soul partner, and I'm going to cross over first because I'm going to help you through this most difficult period of learning and pain and suffering what you're going to have to go through. And while you're going through it, you're not going to understand that. But afterwards, it'll all make sense.
Yeah, it makes sense.
This world, whatever it
when
is
you're
we're
back
in,
there,
this dimension
in world,
we are in, it's a classroom. It isn't, for me. We're in some, and I'm still learning all the time. Yeah. We are in some kind of classroom of learning, and we've done it to ourselves. We've literally said, I want to come here to learn this lesson, whether it's unconditional love, which there's only two things in life that are real, by the way, love and fear. Everything's love, and everything, what stops you doing anything without a love is fear. Everything else is just labels. So that's a lot for people to take. Right, but and I guess that's what counsellors do, I suppose, when they're speaking to people. They you know what I mean?
I'm not shocked by anything now. It's not shocking me.
But that's do you know what I mean? But the thing is as well, how could you possibly speak to someone else who's lost someone unless you went through it?
Well, I couldn't. It wouldn't be right. I would say it's like a drug addict or an alcoholic, like my dad was an alcoholic, seeking help from someone who'd never experienced that. It's not going to work, is it? You've got to go to somebody in therapy who's been through it. And
that again. So if you said to me, right, like I'm 46 now. So if you said to me,
I'm 45.
Oh, there you go. But the thing is, if you said to me, like, Kev, why did you have to go through no mum? Why did you have to go through abuse? Why did you have to go homeless? Why did you have to go through loss? Why did you have to go? I spent my life in hospitals. I literally stuff what would literally, honestly, they had to take all the skin out of my mouth. They had to reconstruct me, all kinds of stuff. So you're like, why would you have to go through all this suffering your whole life? Well, maybe it's because when I sit somewhere and they say I'm going through a difficult time, you can actually say, I know what you're going through.
And this is why my counselling works. So I've done a lot of work, obviously, with bereaved parents. That's what I've done mainly. Like, we're doing this to all bereaved people, because I think that's what Luca would have wanted. Yeah. But, hundreds of bereaved parents I've had sessions with.
And surely there's no greater gift than what you're doing.
No.
I don't think so, because, again, I keep coming off little chat, but it's the same thing, because I lost my best mate... I lost two of my best mates in the last couple of years during the pandemic. Right? Yeah. Not because of COVID, but killed themselves. Okay. Right? Completely different reasons. Kelly, she had light up a room, absolutely beautiful woman, right? And but she suffered a little bit with like bipolar. She had her ups and her downs. Yeah. And the whole thing with the pandemic and that, she couldn't hack it. And so anyway, and then suddenly my mate Dan, who was my best mate growing up, he had everything. He had the girlfriend, he had the money, he had the business. No reason whatsoever.
To the outside world.
Went to the football with his dad and his mates, watched the football, come home, he said, I'll meet you at the pub at 6 o'clock. 6 o'clock, he never turned up at the pub. He went home and hung himself. Why? What was going on?
Know. It's so complex, isn't it?
Now, the thing is as well, the pain that his mum and dad, so like his mum and dad are in the 70s. Let's be honest, we all know they're never going to be the same again. No. They never are.
No, you're a different version.
And at that age as well, they're just in so much pain. Yeah. So how can we ease that pain? Do you know what I mean? There has to be, because it's not going to go away. it's just a case of how we deal with it, isn't it?
Yeah, probably coming to one-to-one counselling or a support group for bereaved parents. You know, sharing grief gives hope, which we're trying to promote, aren't we? And this is what I've been finding in all the years I've been doing counselling. The sharing grief does bring some hope back to your life.
Do you find, and so we have started this interview right in its own right,
Yeah.
right? because of what we're talking about is so important as well. Because I'm going to throw at you there the question: do you think people who are grieving, by finding purpose, it helps the process?
Yes, more than definitely. I think finding the purpose is the key, shall we say, for healthy grief, and to go on and have a life that is still fulfilled in a different way. A life that is learning to live with happy and sad all at the same time. Right. But I think the purpose is key to that. Yeah. So my purpose was this.
Do you think it's because after the initial shock of the events, and then even after the funeral and everything else, I can imagine you wake up every morning and before you've even opened your eyes, the thought's there.
Yeah, always.
Before you close your eyes at night, it's there.
Yeah.
So then by finding a purpose in life, usually through service or helping others.
Yes, that is the
what it
norm.
does is it creates little, so you're not thinking about that. You're always thinking about it, but do you know what I mean? It's giving your life a reason to move forward.
And honouring your loved one who has died, which I think is a big thing. If you can do something that is going to honour them, that you think will honour them, is a big key to healing.
Okay. So, ladies and gentlemen, on today's podcast, we have the amazing Victoria and Peter. And they have set up an amazing charity and an organisation. And it's all to do with bereavement and loss and counselling and moving forward. And to do it justice, I'm just going to give Peter and Victoria a few moments to explain all about their organisation, so you can learn all about it. So, first of all, thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks
Thank
for
you.
coming.
Thank you for inviting
us. So if I give you a few moments now, can you just explain, first of all, the name of the organisation, what it does, what it offers, and then as we go along, we'll also get into why it's so passionate to you.
Okay. Do you want me to start?
Absolutely.
Okay, so Forever Luca is the name of our CIC, and the CIC is just another version of a charity. So it's what is it?
Community interest
company. Yeah, that's the one. So it's set up to benefit the community. So everything that it's all about is going to benefit all the people who need our service in the community. Yeah. So what we offer is bereavement support for anybody who finds themselves in that position, which obviously we're all going to be in life. That's one thing that's guaranteed. Unfortunately, we're all going to die. And our loved ones, obviously, are going to die before we experience that. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. So we've set this up so obviously people don't suffer alone. We want to provide a support service for them because grief is just horrendous. You feel alone and you feel like nobody gets you anymore unless you're with people who have gone through that experience. So what I found in grief, the tribe of people, shall we say, you hung out with who were in your life before grief are not necessarily the tribe of people who are going to be good for you when you are grieving.
Okay.
So yes. I've learnt that along the way.
Is that because they just don't resonate, they don't understand?
Probably a bit of it is they don't understand, and obviously it depends on the type of bereavement you've had. Say, for example, you've lost your child, or you've lost your wife, or you've lost your husband, or your best friend. It's obviously going to affect us all differently and uniquely. Yes. And the way, shall we say, your friends and family members relate to you after that loss can often be hard because they don't know how to deal with you. They don't know how to deal with that new version of you. Yeah. And us being typically British, we're not that good at opening our hearts and reaching out when somebody's hurting. I think our natural reaction is we want to fix somebody. which when it comes to grief, you certainly can't be fixed forever or go back to who you were. You now turn into this different version of yourself. Right. So I feel that needs...
Can I just ask that, because obviously the people who were around you, obviously before, is it a case of they don't know how to talk to you? They because they've not, no one's changed, the situation's changed.
Yeah, they haven't changed,
and it's almost like it's like when you've lost someone, it's like you don't know if the word sorry's right, or are you okay, but obviously because you know you're not okay, but it's almost like it's hard to find the words.
And people do struggle with the words. Like, really the best thing you can say to someone who's bereaved is, I'm so sorry for your loss. You're acknowledging they've had a loss, they've had a significant death that's occurred in their life, which is going to affect the rest of their life. Right. The worst things people can say is, oh, they're in a better place, or they were in pain, so they'll be better now, and they're all things that it unvalidates your grief. You know, you want to be validated that you are in pain and this pain is happening, and it's not just going to go away by somebody saying that. Or another thing that's really hurtful is when people don't talk about your loved one, and they skirt around it, and when you start talking about them, they look away, or they just don't want to.
Has society done that to us?
Yeah, I truly believe
like
that.
The whole thing about death it's almost like taboo.
Yeah.
It's like I've never even thought about like planning a funeral or nothing, because it's almost like we I don't know if it's just this country or everywhere, but it's almost like if we don't talk about it,
it's not going to happen.
But it is something that we all need to talk about, and I love the fact that you've just mentioned there about keeping the memory of the person alive, and all the rest of it, because I don't think the person's probably looked at it from the person who's lost somebody. Yeah. The fact like that, like if I was talking to you about obviously Luca, I might feel awkward then thinking, do you want to talk about him? But part of you would be like, I love.
Yeah, I want to keep talking about him.
I want to talk about my loved one that I've lost because. Yeah. Even though because they were part of me.
Yeah. They were part of you, and the same if it's your husband or wife that you absolutely adored, you want to keep talking about them. And, you know, if they were still alive, you'd still be talking about them, wouldn't you? So when someone dies, in my case, my son, and people around me at that point didn't want to talk about Luca, that was devastating to me. Yeah. You know, because as a parent, as a young child who was only 3.5 when he died, I should be talking about Luca for the rest of my life. And I'm so proud of him. And to me, he was a superhero. He went through cancer, and he was a true superhero to me.
So I want us to get back on track to the course, but because you've brought up little Luca, let's have a little talk about him.
Okay.
Right. So obviously he would have been brought into the world. Did you know straight away there was something wrong with Luca, or is this what? So do you want to tell me what happened?
Yeah. No. Luca would have been 17 in September. He was born on the 30th September 2007. And he was like a little miracle, and it was a bit of a dodgy birth, getting him out safely and all that business, but he was born safe and happy, and everything was fine. And to put it brief, we had an amazing 2 years and 4 months, and everything was just idyllic, and my dream, I had this amazing little boy, and everything was, you know, great and happy in life. Yes, the normal day-to-day problems, worrying about bills and stuff, but that to me was perfection at that point in my life. He was my first child, and I absolutely idolised him. And then it was 14 years ago, roughly, that he started vomiting. So that was January 2010. So we thought it was just a vomiting bug, which was going around at the time. But the vomiting got quite severe, so we ended up in A&E. And they confirmed, yes, it's still the vomiting bug. Sent us home, and he was fine, probably in about 3 days. So carried on with our life as normal. But then another week later, the vomiting reoccurred. It got bad, so we thought we'd better go to A&E. This time he got put on an IV drip to replenish his fluids, And they thought, again, it was just a reoccurrence of the vomiting bug, which was rife at the time. But this time we didn't get sent home. He was just getting worse and worse. His condition, he was deteriorating, the vomiting was getting worse, and something wasn't clearly right. But still at this point, they didn't think it was anything sinister. Anyway, just to cut out quite a long story, we ended up at Alder Hey. They wanted to do a CT scan, still not thinking it was something hugely sinister, that it would be fixable, shall we say. Anyway, ended up with a CT scan, and as a parent, our worst nightmare happened. Anyone's worst nightmare as a parent. It ended up being stage 4 brain cancer called medulloblastoma. Went on to have a CT scan, and it was metastatic. It showed on the he had an MRI at that point, and it had travelled all down his spine, and it was just everywhere in his brain and down his spine. They didn't even comprehend how he was even still alive at that point. So our life just suddenly changed, like literally overnight. They thought he's going to die any minute, and that was the reality of it. Anyway, with many consultations with the consultants, everyone panicking basically what was going to happen, we ended up getting a biopsy. I was basically pleading with our consultant to try anything. If the biopsy had come back of a certain tumour, they wouldn't have even bothered. But luckily, it came back as a tumour that they gave us a choice to go ahead with chemo. So we went ahead with chemo. At this point, the tumour had paralysed Luca from the waist down. So that was devastating and a big loss in itself, but we were obviously fighting for his life. So it was a horrendous first 6 weeks as the chemo started, and we went on to have 9 rounds of high intense chemo. And we did clear the tumour, which was incredible after 9 months. And then
the tumour in the head?
Yeah, it was a brain tumour, but it had gone metastatic, and it travelled down his spine. And the destruction of it had paralysed him.
Just to cut you in there, so once obviously he was vomiting, and then then you found out you've had some tests, and then you found out, look, he's got this tumour.
Yeah, brain cancer. Did
suddenly then the deterioration start straight away, or was
the deterioration was the deterioration, he became so ill, didn't he, the second bout of vomiting, and it just went downhill from there. So obviously the tumour must have got to a stage where it was really destroying. And the problem is with stage 4 cancer and any high grade cancer, they're so evil that the symptoms are less than a less sinister cancer, if that makes sense.
Right, okay.
So the more evil the cancer, the least symptoms, so they can do their evil work and destroy the body. That's how I see cancer.
Was there any? Was it in the family, or was it?
No.
Is this something? It's just a total shock. It's just like, where's this come from?
Yeah, when your child gets cancer, they do DNA test to see if it is a genetic thing. It wasn't a genetic thing. It was just sadly one of those things that happened. They don't know a reason why it happened. Obviously, we all have cancer cells, and something clearly triggered it. But, when adults get cancer, we can often say, oh, you're an alcoholic, that triggered it, you smoked, that triggered whatever, lung cancer, whatever. But in his case, he was obviously 2 and 4 months and had everything pure and natural. So we'll never know to this day. And the consultant said we'll never know what has triggered his cancer to grow.
So as well, so obviously you've got your child's been diagnosed with cancer. It started taking chemotherapy.
Yeah, we started pretty much 4 days after diagnosis on the chemo, and obviously it was so high toxic chemo, and it made him so sick. And on top of the symptoms, obviously, of the brain tumour coming out, he was horrendously poorly for the first 6 to 8 weeks, and then we started to see a shift. He started to perk up, and Luca was coming back. So that was incredible. So that was roughly in the April at that point that we started to see a change, all for the positive. And the scan then we had showed it was starting to clear. So that was against all the odds,
So did that give you a glimmer of hope that something...
Yeah, that's when hope really did
And so in all that period, was you in hospital?
Yes, yeah. Me and Luca did not go home at that point, so that was hard in itself, because as wonderful as Alder Hey is in any hospital, you feel like you're institutionalised, and everything's just changed in your life beyond belief. It really
your
has.
whole life's been turned upside down at that point now.
And it's a big shock as well, because I'd never been on a child cancer ward in my life. It was something that had never been in my life. Even though you hear of it, it's so sad and horrible, but you always think, it's going on with another family. It won't happen to my family, but it did happen to my family. And then suddenly I'm on this ward with all these most amazing children and families, going through such horrendous diagnosis. And it's hard and sad, because I think on the whole time we were there, in the 9 months on the cancer ward, it's about 10 children that died that you'd got to know, and it was just like heartbreaking.
So you was in the hospital for 9 months?
I was in hospital, we were in there for about 8 weeks without coming home, and then we had an odd trip home in that 9 months. Yeah. It's because his treatment was so intense, he needed his chemo, and between chemo his counts were down so much, his blood counts, he'd pick up an infection, then we'd end up in an isolation room, and it was just our journey. We were in hospital most of that first 9 months.
The consultants,
yeah,
we know they do a fantastic job.
Yeah.
Were they straight with you from the start?
Yeah, our consultant was, and at first he was called Dr. Barry Pizer, and at first I thought he was the most cruelest man ever, the way he related information, but looking back, that was the best thing. He told it how it was. His people skills weren't, don't worry, it'll be all right. Yeah. He was straight, I don't know how your child is alive. This is in a horrendous stage 4 medulloblastoma brain cancer. Odds of long-term survival are slim. Even if he does survive it, odds that the tumour will even clear are probably 1%. The odds were all against us from day one.
And even that, I hold consultants because of my own children and stuff I've had in my own life. I do give them high esteem, if you like.
Yeah.
Because they have to go home.
Yeah, I know.
The pain for the parents and everything, but that is difficult what they're doing, having to, and they're having to be straight with you.
Yeah.
And tell, they're not trying to give you false hope.
No, but some consultants do that have experience from other parents. Not false hope, in a bad way, but more like
the way they've delivered.
Yeah, but I'm actually really grateful of the brutality, the way he delivered it now, because we knew where we were at, didn't we? Yeah.
I just wanted to mention as well, because I think this is why your organisation probably resonates with me as well, because I got touched. I'm going back. My son he's 19 now, and he was in hospital when he was a kid. So I'm going back probably a good 15 years.
Yeah.
And we were on the cancer wards. But my son had a blood condition, but because of the blood condition, his life was never in threat or anything like that. But the seriousness of his blood condition meant he was still on the same. I forgot the name of the same wards.
Yeah, right. So like leukemia.
Yes, that's right. Yeah. And basically what had happened, I'd been visiting him, his mum was in with him at the time, and as I was leaving, a door was open and a little boy caught my attention, and I went in and had a little chat with him. Right, and it upsets me to think of it, and this little boy...
it's hard.
There was photos all over the wall of what he looked like before.
Yeah.
And he was like he'd swelled up because of the drugs and everything else. And
that's leukemia, the steroids. Hair,
and all the footballers from Liverpool had come in and they'd said... And I remember leaving and thinking, he's not coming down.
I know, it's just absolutely devastating.
And crikey, all these years, it's never left.
No. I'll haunt you forever, that image. It's just so sad.
Do you know what I mean? So it's like, I just, sorry, what's called...
Don't be sorry.
Again, when you're talking about that, I'm just...
Yeah.
It just...
And the footballers, they used to come in.
Thanks.
That it just shows how...
Yeah, because there's a lot going on these wards, and, things support, but... And I think I just never, that sticks with me because I thought he's not going home, and I saw he was a little blonde boy, and he must have only been like 5 or 6, and he was, had everything. And then suddenly this kid, and he was still smiling in the bed. He was just so.
That's what the inspiration was, and what I found so humbling. These amazing children going through cancer, still smiling, still playing, in between chemo rounds. It's just absolutely incredible. And like the footballers coming in, we missed the footballers. We had the jockeys.
Right.
We luckily got home for Christmas, I think, when the footballers came in. But the jockeys came in, and do you know AP McCoy?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Well, he became one of Luca's biggest fans. He met Luca. It was April 2010. And that's the year he went on to win the Grand National for the first and only time. Fantastic. And he's kept in touch ever since. And he's actually really backing Forever Luca, our charity, as well. He's done a little video if you look on our website.
Oh, that's amazing.
He got really inspired by Luca.
It's great when you see these people who have made celebrity status, if you like, but they're using it for that leverage.
Yes.
They're using it for good, aren't they? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely.
Their career's amazing in itself, but when you see them actually reaching it, because a lot of people don't see that with celebrities,
no,
do they?
No,
you know what I mean? They just think it's all the Ritz and it, but they don't see when they're turning up at these hospitals and.
Oh well, he did a lot of things behind the scene, and when 15 months later, when Luca became terminal, the cancer had come back, and we were at home for the last 4 weeks when he was in the terminal state. And then we came round to the Grand National again, and en route to the Grand National, he called in at our house and to visit Luca, literally days before he died, and he spent a good couple of hours with us and that wasn't reported to the press.
No.
So that was special.
That's obviously you've brought us up to date a little bit about Luca.
Yeah, just how difficult it is going through.
Now, obviously, I'm putting two and two together, but I'm assuming your current organisation and everything, what you currently do, obviously, the loss of a child is always going to play a massive role in turning your life in a direction that you probably never thought your life. I mean, just quickly going back before Luca was even born, what was Vicky doing? What was Vicky's plans on life?
Oh, I was never a person who had huge plans, beyond a year, but we're running, me and my husband at the time were running our own online business, renovating properties. We love travelling, I suppose just what a normal type life ambitions, just to be happy and to enjoy life, and then having a child just made it complete.
And that's because, again, all we can do is look back, and we don't want to forget the past in some ways, and there's two ways of looking at that. But there was, before Luca was born, there was Vicky, and Vicky had a life, and it's important to acknowledge that. Yeah. And then obviously, Luca's come into your life, and your whole life then, the first 2 years would have been fantastic. Yeah. And then your whole life now has took this. Yeah. Which you never would have expected.
No.
And obviously your partner, I can assume he would never have expected that either. So now it's took your lives in a completely different direction. And then for the next best part of 2.5 years, you've had to go through all the treatment, and then obviously the loss.
Yeah, so 15 months of treatment it was. So that was completely draining and exhausting, as you can imagine, worrying. And then Luca tragically dies at the end of it. And then I had not planned, I'd got pregnant just before Luca went into transplant. So 6 weeks after Luca died, I gave birth to my first daughter. So that was very, very difficult.
Wow.
Bittersweet. I felt like I'd sacrificed Luca to gain this little girl.
I was going to ask you when you said, because you do hear of stories like that, and it's like a double-edged sword, isn't it? Yeah. Because there's the happiness and joy of the new child coming into your life. Yeah. But there's one then.
Yeah. Luca died.
I mean, we talk about, reincarnation and everything else. There's even that thought as your soul come back and it's come into another body and it's living again.
Yeah. Those thoughts did enter my mind. It was a very surreal experience. And when Luca was in the terminal stage, they let us take him to all the scans of Taya. his sister, and he just absolutely adored that he was having a little sister, and he used to call her small Baba because he used to call himself Baba, and he was so excited to meet her, and that was just heartbreaking and soul destroying. And he used to always touch my stomach, speak to my stomach, and they missed each other by 6 weeks. So that was hard.
So while
to go
you were
through.
having to deal with that, you're actually pregnant as well. And
Yeah, I was 6 weeks off to giving birth when he died. So that was worrying, stressful.
very.
So in a way, my grief got delayed quite a lot because I had to keep this little baby alive, and they were quite worried about me when Luca died, and she wasn't growing as well in the last few weeks, obviously with all the stress and everything. So I felt like there was a lot of pressure on me to get this baby out safe. I owed it to her.
Right.
So we got her out safe, and, she's 12 now. And she's been absolutely incredible, on the hope side of it.
And did you say her name was?
Taya, yeah.
And there's obviously, you've kept Luca's memory alive with Taya, she knows.
Yes, and I've got another daughter, Maya, who's 11.
I would. Do you know what?
Yeah.
I should have butted in there because I was going to say, but there's another one as well in there.
Yes.
Because there's 3. Because I knew there was 3.
Yeah, that's the 3.
But anyway, I'm about to go because anyway, I can go on to all that. But I got while you're talking as well, I thought mention the other one because I knew there was 3.
That is
anyway,
it.
Right. So anyway, I've lost my train of thought. But the thing is, so your kids, as they've grown up, have you always kept the memory?
Yeah, they've always talked about Luca and obviously kept the memory going, but I understand it's very difficult for them because they never physically met him.
Yeah.
So, it is different.
Can I just bring you, what's it called, if it's not too raw as well? So, over the years after Luca's passed,
Yeah.
Surely there's no right or wrong way of telling someone how they should react or how they should live their life, or like the way you grieve. So it's like, and looking back now, you could probably say I probably would have handled certain things differently. Is there like a lot of lessons that you learned during that period, what you've now brought into?
Yes.
That's what I want. Because basically, one of the biggest things in life is to help people, if you like, is if you met somebody now whose child is terminally ill, who better to speak to than you? So we wouldn't wish that on you, but the thing is, you would be able to give them the stepping stones of, look, if you avoid this is going to really help you.
Yeah, I wish I'd had an organisation like Forever Luca to go to, because I was completely lost. Particularly in my early stages of grief, and the tribe of people around me at the time just didn't get it, and I just felt alone. I felt that I was grieving wrong. I just felt everything was just horrendous. So if I'd had somewhere, like-minded people to be around, I think it really would have helped my journey of grief.
I think it's so important because it's like, I mean, let's be honest. If you lost someone, who can you talk to? Yeah. So I think that's why it's so important to have an organisation like that you're raising here now, because who do you talk to? And also not just talk to, but get good advice.
Yeah, people who are supporting you, and it's often people would generally think, speak to your family, your friends, but often they're the ones that are the hardest to speak to because you're too close in a way. You need someone impartial, and particularly I feel someone who's been through that type of loss themselves, so they actually get it.
And so can I ask, how long, what was the time period before you started, before you said, I want to do something, or I want to create something, or you met Peter, or, so basically how did all this evolve?
Okay, so briefly, when we first arrived on the oncology ward in hospital, I had this vision. I wanted to do something in the future for parents with children going through cancer, someone to speak to, because there was no help out there. There was all these families going through hell, and a lot of the families broke up and were arguing, and with the stress of cancer, you'd think it blends everyone together, but it unfortunately has the opposite effect in a lot of cases. Right. So I used to sit there thinking, why is there no like counsellor type person or someone impartial like us family members could go and speak to, but there wasn't. So that got me thinking, and I'd done a degree in sociology, so I was always interested in how people tick. And then it was when Luca obviously ended up tragically dying, I thought I need to do something to help bereaved parents and bereaved in general. And then obviously the few years after Luca dying, we're looking after 2 young children. And then when I finally got got some free time when they started nursery, I decided to be a counsellor. So I did my diploma. It took like 4 or 5 years to get that done. And then I worked for a bereavement charity for X number of years, but with always a vision to start my own thing. Yeah. And then finally the time came right, and this miracle, Peter, came into my life.
And this is where we welcome Peter.
Yeah. Sorry, I've talked a bit too much.
No, because there's always... It's important because there's a journey before our lives cross with people who need to come into our lives.
Yeah, because I couldn't have done it by myself. I was qualified, but I couldn't have started a CIC by myself. I didn't have the knowledge. I couldn't do the social media side of it, the website. I'm rubbish with technology.
Can I just, before we move on to that, can I just pull you back as well? Because I want, you know, when people are having like grief counselling and they're going through grief, is it separate or is it under the same banner? So like, you know, when you mentioned about relationships, and how grief can not bring people closer together, it can actually...
Yeah, like in my family's case, the opposite.
Does that come under the banner of like support under the grief count? Like how do you help relationships? Because how many... I can imagine, I've heard this a lot in the past, people who have lost someone and split up.
Yeah.
And you think you'd think they'd become closer together, but they don't. It's actually is it because of the pain, or is it because of the blaming each other? Is there some kind of guilt? Yeah. So does that all come under the grief banner, or is it a separate counselling there? Or?
It does really.
And also, do you offer that kind of service?
It does really, because when people think of grief counselling, they think, oh, we're just there to talk about, say, the death of my wife or the death of my child, but your whole life's affected by it, isn't it? So whatever they bring into the room on a counselling session is helping them process everything that's happening in their life due to grief. Yeah. So hopefully when somebody comes to me whose relationship struggling due to grief, say the death of the child, for example, hopefully by talking it through, I'm not saying it's going to save their relationship, because you can go in very different routes, a husband and wife, when the child dies. Like my marriage went completely different routes. You become a different version of you. But
do some people get angry, and some people like close up?
Yes, anger is a big consequence. If you tend to grieve with your personality type, so say you have like an angry type personality, bubbling away, which could go wrong if provoked, it often will come out with grief.
You decided then, look, you wanted to do, you've qualified, you've done your diploma, which would have been a little bit of brightness in a life of darkness, if you like.
So I did that.
And then you decided, look, I want to do this myself.
Yeah, because I'd worked for various places in a child bereavement charity, and I felt like I'd gained enough experience with, hundreds of clients. Sorry, that's what I want to ask you.
Last one, trying to this one. I know this might sound a silly question, but is it common? Like obviously losing, but like, how big is the audience? How many people out there are suffering?
There's a lot,
I'd say this as well from someone who's not in that position.
Yeah.
So it's alien to me, as in like I don't realise.
Yeah.
But like you could be walking down the street, that person could be literally in pain.
Yeah, exactly. You never know what people go through.
Is it a bigger issue? Is it a bigger thing than people realise?
Yeah, it definitely is a big issue. Yeah, I'm in that world now, and it is. There's.
So it's not as if it's just one knock a week on the door. There's a list of people out there.
Yeah, you just have to look at the news, don't you?
Well.
And there's deaths happening all the time. Husbands, wives, brothers, sisters. There's a need for this service because, like I said, it completely changes you.
Just going a little bit off track, is is there enough support out there by our governments, our things, or is it, are people taking it on their own shoulders to try and be that branch to support?
Yeah, there's not enough help out there at all. Not? Say you felt yourself, you could recognise you needed to go for bereavement counselling, go to your GP, you can have at least 3-4 month waiting list, and then you wouldn't be guaranteed you were going to a counsellor, Pacific grief counsellor, who is going to give you the support you need or the community you need. So there's very little resources out there, I feel, for bereaved people to get support.
And also because as well as the, do you know what, it's like a domino again, because it's not just about the initial thing of losing someone.
Yeah.
But then you've got to, because life still carries on.
Yeah.
You've still got to go home and pay your bills. You've got to.
Yeah.
I mean, who wants to go to work after you've lost?
Well, this is what
your partner or your kid, but the bailiffs don't care.
And going through cancer, you've got no income coming in half the time.
And it's almost as if that's not an excuse, but it's probably the biggest excuse.
Yeah.
It's not even an excuse; it's reality, isn't it?
Yeah.
So it's like, how do people move forward? Well,
people struggle, and this is in a way the behind the scenes of cancer and death that people don't get. We lost our family home. My mother didn't get cancer whatsoever. I don't speak to my mum anymore. That's how we end up. It's a long story, political. Yeah. I won't go into that, but just people in general, like going through cancer. I couldn't work for 15 months. We were on a very low income due to that. Peter going through cancer with his wife. He couldn't work into the capacity he was used to. People don't see that. There's no magic pot of money you're given if you lose someone to cancer or, any sort of death. You're out there on your own, basically. There's hardly any support out there. But no one seems to realise this.
No, it's heartbreaking to hear that, because it's heartbreaking that someone's lost someone.
Yeah.
But then, that's not the end, is it? It's like, now they've got to pick up all these pieces, they've got to try and live, they've got...
Your bills keep coming in.
That's heartbreaking, that we've got a society where people are sort of left through no problem, no fault of their own.
I know, it is, and this is hopefully if we can be that support network for people to point them in, not just offer a counselling service and support groups, but if we can point people in the right direction, there's this support pot there, there's this there, not that there's many, but if we can, try and help in any way we can, because it's devastating. It just destroys everything. And then you've got this grief fog, so you can't function properly anyway, because grief is exhausting, absolutely.
It's almost like, while you're going through that grief period, it's like you could do with someone who you trust who can just deal with everything else for you.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean? Can you just make sure my house and my internet sorted and my bills, and I just need to be in this fog.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like, but that's, again... I've probably not very many people have that opportunity like that. So let's bring Peter in. So obviously, when you wanted to set up this organisation and charity, and then how did you come across and meet the lovely Peter?
That was an amazing coincidence. I think we were destined to meet. I was at the point where I'd given up my other job and I was ready to start this thing. Didn't have a clue how to do it. Didn't have to set up as a charity or CIC. And I basically just had the idea ready to go on my own, not a clue what to do. So I just thought, I need a website. So I got out Google and got a few numbers. And the first number I rang was a local lady who wasn't a good first reaction, said, she did websites, but her mother had just died. I'd explained what it was about and said, I don't want anything to do with death at the minute. So I was like, that sums up society. So I felt quite deflated after that, thinking, nobody wants to know this bereavement thing, do they? Yeah. So anyway, I then found this other number, which looked really appealing to me. Little man. What was it?
Little Man Design.
Yeah, Little Man Designs. I thought, that looks a really cool design. So I didn't have a clue who I was ringing. I knew it was local because I wanted to physically speak to someone about doing the design. And Peter answered. And I was that blown away with his response compared to this lady. He was so taken by it. And the most amazing thing he said to me was, that is just so incredible, your story. I'd love to do it for free. So I was like, oh my God. I was like, who is this man? And he told me as well his amazing wife Louise had recently died of cancer, pancreatic cancer, hadn't she, at that point. And when we met up to discuss a website, we hit it off as friends. And Peter said he'd love to do it as a joint thing, me being a counsellor, him being great on that side of things, social media and obviously doing the website.
So when we talk about, obviously, because on this platform we talk a lot about like attracts like.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, I know everybody would love it to be in a positive way.
Yeah.
But sometimes, even in pain, like attracts like.
Yes.
And when you've just mentioned that,
yeah,
when that phone call's rung, you could relate. You were on that same vibration.
He could. Peter
because
could.
you were in a situation and you knew that pain. Do you know what I mean? And then, so we talk about miracles and how things happen, but again, so we're bringing things into our life all the time without us even knowing it.
Yeah.
And also, but timing.
Yes, timing.
Because
2
months earlier, that conversation probably doesn't happen or doesn't work. Or 3, do you know what I mean?
No.
It's like...
Peter's wife at that point had only died a few months ago, hadn't she?
Just a few months.
Yeah, just a few months prior to that phone call.
So, and I mean, because usually it's in happy circumstances, like I'll be talking with people about who are finding love and relationships, this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And like attracts like, right? Because I'm just quickly coming off the track as well, because I always said to, let's say you've been divorced.
Yeah.
And let's say your partner's cheated, okay? And then what happens is that person's in pain.
Yeah.
And then what happens is over a couple of years or something else, then someone comes into their life who was also cheated on.
Yeah.
Like attracts like. So what happens is then they form a relationship because they both understand where they're coming from.
Yeah.
But that doesn't always mean it's right. It's needed. But sometimes in different things as well, it's like it can also be the wrong reasons to build like a loving relationship.
Yeah.
So there's lots of different aspects what I'm trying to say. But like attracts like. The universe knows what everybody needs and this vibration. So it doesn't surprise me how through your journey and then your journey and then the miracle that's brought you together.
Yeah, it was a miracle. Yeah, it was definitely a miracle because we wouldn't be where we are today without our collaboration, would we?
No,
well, I certainly wouldn't.
Yeah.
I couldn't be
So you meet Peter, you tell him your idea.
Yes.
You like the idea, and obviously it resonates with you because everything that you go through. And also at that time, I can imagine you're still in a lot of pain.
Yes,
it's very fresh.
Yeah.
But was you somebody who needed to tunnel your work in, put your head into something to crack on, or would you always like that?
Well, it was just a new experience for me. I'm at a stage where Victoria can talk about things, which I just still can't.
Right. Okay.
So unless you enter a world of grief, nobody knows about it. People, it's not that they don't go; they're just indifferent. They've never experienced it, so they don't know anything about it. You see, so I was living on my own, and at the same time, my wife was diagnosed with her illness. I was diagnosed with this illness that I tell people is Parkinson's, just to be easy. But it's a degenerative brain illness.
Right.
So we both had to look after each other. So
Okay.
when she died, in terrible circumstances, how she died, I was just completely lost. So my business, I've had to hand 90% over to another designer because I can't work anymore. So I was looking, to do something with Victoria. So at the moment, Victoria's the driving force behind it.
Yeah.
As my health, declines.
But also Victoria, because of what you've been through, you can understand.
She's the only person she understands. Only person.
That, do you know what I mean? It's like I said, you know that feeling.
Only person there's a safe space. There's a safe place with. So.
And so that is a miracle in itself.
It is a miracle. Yeah, it is.
And then through the miracle of you two coming, and there you in the midst of creating something that is going to leave a legacy to help so many others.
Yeah, that's the intention.
Which way? Look, it has to. Just the fact with the story and the miracles, and I do believe these things happen for a reason. That's my own belief. I believe, and even under such tragic circumstances, it's almost like the growing of a new flower emerges.
Yeah. And again, it's giving both our grief purpose, because Louise was the most kind-hearted soul of a person, wasn't she? Luca was an innocent, beautiful soul, and I think they both would have really wanted this, our grief to become the purpose, to help others.
I said this to you before. I'd actually got you confused with who was due on the podcast.
Yeah, I know.
And listen, I'm not taking nothing away from, but I'm so glad this has happened. Because this is special. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
This is, what you're creating is special. But I tell you why it's special, because it's not about you two.
No.
It's about so much more than you two, which is, for me, it's like, that's the greatest thing, isn't it? When you can leave this world and create something that's going to live on after you, and it's for others, that's beautiful.
It's like putting the pain we're going into a purpose, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah,
yes.
That's the intention, and like we keep saying, sharing grief gives hope.
Is that the line that you use?
Yeah, I think it does. Sharing grief.
So just so we can, what's it called? Let's tell everybody all about the organisation and that, because listen, my hope from this podcast is that it'll get shared far and wide, where people can listen and realise, look, there's other people who understand me, what I'm going through, what I'm feeling. There's people who will listen to it and say, there is places out there. Because I can imagine a lot of people are locked away and they don't even know how to reach out. And you know what I mean? And that must be really lonely. So, even if we can touch so many people's lives and say, look, there's the organisations out there, especially, let's be honest, even in the area of Liverpool, Manchester, how many millions of people live in this area alone?
I know, and how many people are going through bereavement alone?
Yeah.
Without knowing there's support out there.
So if we can get that message out there,
yeah.
So we know what's good. So the name of the organisation is Forever Luca.
Yeah.
Okay, and you are the main counsellor.
Yes. Yeah.
And your role involves
obviously doing one-to-one counselling and support groups and fundraising, etc.
Yeah. So do people actually come together in a group and have like Alcohol Anonymous or something like that? Do people have a circle and have a talk?
Group therapy is basically, say, a group of bereaved spouses who can all come together and share their stories together. So this is where the sharing grief gives hope comes in. So normally, you feel completely alone, say when your child or your wife's died. And if you can meet with other people who have gone through that experience and share your stories...
That must bring...
Yeah.
Great friendships, if you like.
Yeah, friendships and hope, you know.
Knowing that someone else can understand me.
Yeah, that other people get you, they get your loneliness, they get your darkness and grief, and that they get you. And that's very powerful, I think.
100%.
Very powerful.
So at the moment, Forever Luca, is there a place where people come, or is it predominantly online, or is it both?
We're in Oral at the minute, and we're currently going to be moving offices soon. So if anybody wants to get in contact, if they go on our website or just give us a ring, and we can let them know everything that we offer.
And we're obviously going to tell everybody underneath the video, the comments, we're going to all your websites, and all the details. Yeah. We'll share all that and all the rest of it. So yourself, Peter. So are you predominantly working on the advertising side, the digital side, or the?
Yes, just the background, design the website, the social media posts. I write the social media posts.
Yeah.
We're going to look at putting a book together.
Share your story.
So we've got a book club on the website at the moment.
All right.
That gave us this idea to write something ourselves. That's what we're going to do.
And that's another fantastic. So it's like a tree. It just keeps growing, sprouting off in different things and touching different lives. Let me just pull you back to the name Forever Luca.
Yeah.
No, obviously Luca was your son.
Yeah.
But just explain to the audience a little bit more the inspiration behind your title and your name.
Yeah, the name Forever Luca, obviously due to Luca, but the forever bit it's just meaning forever love, and no matter what Luca and whoever your amazing person is who has died, it's forever them. and to honour that. And I remember when Luca was born, with it being a bit of a dodgy birth, I remember thinking, you're forever here, but I didn't realise that it wouldn't be the version that I anticipated, forever here in the way we are. Obviously now it's in a different version. His spirit's carried on, but he is forever, and forever want to say his name and talk about him.
Definitely. Yeah, I love that. I think we should talk about our loved ones forever. And obviously from my point of view, obviously because everything I believe in, and that's not for everybody, by the way, but but it's like, for me, they are there forever.
Yeah, they are.
It's just, and I got to be honest, I know from experience, listen, I know they love it when we're talking about them.
Oh,
it brings them closer. It does. And I would always say to people in a reading, even though you don't want them to sort of tell you anything, please talk.
Yes.
Your vibration of your voice and you talking, like even if you're at home and you a lot of people when they're in the road, they'll probably talk to your wife, and it's so important. They hear you, they're there, they're listening to everything. And
you do that.
it is, but it keeps them alive. It keeps you alive. There's so much more to that what we could delve into. But do you know what I mean? So I love that. What I wanted to ask was, if say somebody's going through a difficult time, they've just lost somebody.
Yeah.
Do they just pick up a phone and phone you, or is there like a consultation thing, or how does it all work? Like, what's the first point to call?
Well, I suppose this is getting the word out. We've got the website, haven't we? So you can find us on Google. You can fill in a referral form online, or you can just phone us.
Yeah.
But I know it's scary, the thought of going for counselling or going to a support group. But we're very welcoming and accommodating, and hopefully if you do come, whatever bereavement you've gone through, you will feel supported.
And then also it seems weird because obviously when someone's like going through a difficult period, but like, so if I phoned up and I said, look, I've lost someone, I come to see you today, is there like a time slot? And like, is there a cost? It seems weird to have them kind of conversations.
No,
but
I understand.
Do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Because it's not like a doctor's appointment, is it? Like
no.
5 minutes and all that, 20 quid. How does it all?
Well, the counselling is free, which we are. This is via grants and funding, etc. So it'll all be free and it's ongoing. It's not a set 10 sessions, say for the one-to-one example. It'll be as long as you need it. Because obviously grief has no timeline. So
is there a way where we could sort of put a link out there and where people could donate to support your charity and help you?
Yes. Yeah, that would be incredible. If anyone fancies doing any fundraising activities, like a sponsored run or walk or something to your own like.
Because you mentioned to me before you've got a big event coming up.
Yes, we've got an event end of November, which the details are on the website, and it's a fundraising night with a 3-course dinner and entertainment, and the jockey AP McCoy will be coming to do a Q&A. If anybody...
So people can buy tickets for that, and then all that goes to the organisation?
Yeah.
Beautiful.
So AP will be there if anybody's in, and he got into Sports Personality of the Year.
He did. And most people, I think most people in the world would know AP McCoy.
Yes.
He is, he's a very likeable guy. Won Sports Personality of the Year, famous jockey.
Inspirational.
Yes, very, very inspirational. Can I just ask as well, is it just yourself and Peter at the moment, or is there?
It's just us two at the minute, isn't it?
And what's the goal? Like, is there any thoughts, or are you letting things grow naturally, or is the thought of bringing different people in for different areas, or?
Yeah, well, obviously, when things evolve, I will need to employ more counsellors. Obviously, I won't be able to do it all myself, and we're just going to evolve and see how it goes. Who else services we need to bring in,
and also as well. So I know it's a little bit separate to the bereavement counselling, but are you open to things like healing and holistical ways of treating people? Is that something that resonates with your...
No, the holistic ways of healing. When more funding comes in, we'd like to offer services like reflexology and Reiki.
Yes.
And... maybe services, like you provide on the spiritual side.
I ask because as well, I know this from past, grief can affect the body.
Oh yes, it really
And
does.
I remember meeting a lady, and she was like all scrunched up her back, and
Yeah.
and apparently it was from grief.
Yeah, no,
It can affect the body
Yes.
ridiculously, like, and so
It's
and
exhausting.
So yes, that's the
Absolutely
key
exhausting.
word. So because it's not just a mental thing; it's your
No.
whole body.
Yeah.
You know. So again, do you know? I remember back in the day when I used to do like it was called. They used to call it Reiki, or it's called Reiki.
Yeah.
But for me, it was just natural healing.
Yeah.
I like, listen, if it's healing, it's healing. But what I used to like, if someone could come and they can have an hour's sleep because
That
of
would be
whatever's
incredible.
there, you know what I mean? That's an hour of your mind just relaxing from
Yeah.
the stress.
And I think that's important to complement the talking therapy that we offer. So if we get enough funding in, we can hopefully facilitate those type services for people to benefit from.
Yeah. Oh, that's beautiful. And also, listen, and obviously you can say no, but I'm happy to say on camera, if I can offer my services for free,
Yeah,
even if I open up like one day a week,
that would be incredible.
people could come to this studio,
Yeah,
and if they're into the spiritual side and they would like to try and make the connection with spirit and get messages from spirit, I'm more than happy to do that for people. You know what I mean? I don't know how many we could fit in a day,
Yeah.
but what we could do is we could set up some kind of calendar, and what you could do is because some people won't be ready for that, I can imagine at the start.
Yeah.
But as time goes, they might be open to it.
that would
Or,
be,
you know.
yeah.
So what I'm saying is, if you have got people who say, well, look,
Who
well,
are
let's
interested
try
in
it.
that, yeah.
And you know, and as a service from myself, I think that sort of resonates with me. I could think of no better way than like helping people, but there's no pressure on them.
No,
Do you know what I mean? If they come, if nothing happens, come again next week, try again. But if something
Yeah.
happens and they get the messages that they need, and if that gives them a bit of comfort.
yeah. No, that is incredible. And myself personally, you know, I've been to see a few spiritual mediums and it's brought great comfort to me. And what you told me roughly today about Luca was resonated amazingly with me. And
So, because
was
sometimes
helpful.
it can just be, sometimes it can only be a few words or
Yeah.
one certain thing. What someone said, you couldn't have known that.
yeah,
But that sort of, I've seen it myself. I've seen people leave, and it's almost like took the blanket off the head.
it gives
So,
hope, doesn't it?
Yes.
Again, another version
Yes,
of hope,
yes.
which is crucial.
Yeah. And also as well, because let's be honest, after grief, obviously finding purpose, but also finding some kind of direction in life.
Yes.
And if you've lost someone at like a quite young age,
Yeah,
you've got your whole. That's I mean.
I know.
Um,
It's a long...
So yeah, I mean,
life to
listen.
go
So
on.
again, and I'm sure as well. There'll be people who I know, whether that's Maxine with yoga, or there'll be people who surely would want to say, "Look, I'll help do that."
Yeah, that would be incredible because
Do you know what I mean?
as amazing as talking therapy is, you know, it's never enough. So we need to complement it with other versions of therapy.
And because I can imagine everybody, different things work for different people.
Yeah, exactly.
It's almost like running a football team. Some people need a cuddle.
Yeah.
Some people need a firm talking to. And
Yeah.
do you know what I mean? It's everyone relates differently, don't they?
Yeah.
But if you can offer so many strings to the
Yeah, a variety of support. Yeah.
okay, well you can put my name down.
Yeah.
And,
Thank
and
you.
I'll-
We're honoured.
I'll go on your website. Can you buy tickets for that event already?
Yes,
I
I
don't-
think, yes.
I was going to turn it live at the end of this week.
Right. Okay. Well, as soon
Yeah.
as they're out, I'll get on there and I'll get some.
that would be incredible.
I'll look forward to a night.
It
out
will
of
be
that.
a good night.
Yeah,
I
definitely.
know, and
Definitely.
I
for
feel
a great cause as well.
Yeah, and we're privileged. AP is spending his time doing this for us.
Yeah, that's amazing.
So yeah, so I feel completely honoured, don't we, about that. I just hope anyone listening to this podcast today, if yourself personally are going through grief or you know somebody who is, please get in touch because we are here to support.
Yeah.
The thing is, your friends don't know what to do. Your friends want to fix you. Your friends want to tell you stories about themselves. What I say in my marketing, people don't care. They care about their problems. Psychologists call it the spotlight effect. We're all walking around with this spotlight on us. I'm important, I'm important. And we think other people think that nobody's giving you a thought. So what's going on today? So if you're going through something, don't reach out to a friend. They'll say, I'll pop round, we'll have a cup of tea, blokes will go out for a pint. Not that blokes would do, most northern blokes would keep everything in here. Or they'll say, the classic is always, they will say, my friend had cancer. Let me tell you a story about me. Because if I tell you my story, it'll make you feel better. So my friends, aunties, brothers, dogs, owners, cats, friends, auntie, she had cancer and she died. Yeah, she died. Yeah. And you're sat there. And when I say, so what was her name? Where did she live? What sort of cancer did she have? So they, at the end of it, they validated themselves.
Right.
I'm in the same place, so now I don't tell any friends. Spend an hour with a counsellor who will say, tell me one of your most favourite memories of her.
Yeah.
Don't want to fix you. There's no fixing.
Yeah.
When somebody dies who's close to you, you step into another room, a room that you didn't know existed. Same thing when you became a mum. It's not just a baby is born, a mother is born, a father is born. You step into a world that your senses, your emotions didn't know was even there. Another room in your house, but a room in your heart. Didn't know it was there. So it's the same with grief. People who've not stepped into that room cannot understand what it's like. So I know years ago, Billy Connolly's wife, she's a psychotherapist, and she said in a magazine, I read it years ago, I just remembered the quote, although I know what she meant now. She said, you're going through a problem in your life, don't talk to your friends, they're not therapists. They've not spent 5 years at college doing a degree. They don't know what to do. They will try to fix you. Just don't talk to your friends. They'll say, let's put the kettle on, be around in 10 minutes. What you need is, you need a good night out. You need a good night's sleep. Don't be doing this. A person who died, they don't want you going through this. They're in a better place, free of pain now. They want to say these things that they've read on a Clinton's card about sympathy. And think, well, I've popped round, I've done them a world of good, I've given them a good talking to. And really, because of what I do, my job is sales and marketing. I'll ask about you. So when did it start this? What are the symptoms? And what hospital were you in? I've forgotten. Tell me the name again. So they told me for half an hour. They get it off the chest. They leave. And I think, and that's what people do. I would say, especially to blokes out there who think everything is just down to themselves, and they should be this hunter-gatherer. They should be out there conquering the world and conquering their feelings, and they shouldn't feel like this, and life shouldn't be like this, and I don't know what to do with it. And I've been out with my mates, and we go to the football, and we laugh, and we talk about bikes and girls' boobs and everything like that, and we tell each other dirty jokes, and I come home at night and I feel emptier than ever. Go and speak to a counsellor. Ring one up. Ring Samaritans. Ring anybody.
Ring Forever Luca.
Because your friends cannot help you. Most magical thing Victoria said to me was, there's no fixing, there's just adjusting. You have to adjust to live in this life.
While you were talking, I think you explained that in what you were just saying, that it's not about fixing.
Yeah,
that's what comes through as well there.
Friends want
they want to fix you.
They want the fixed version.
But it's not going to happen, is it?
No, never going to happen.
No, things are not going to be the same, are they?
It's a car going down a motorway on a lovely summer's day, and a wheel falls off. Yeah. And you cannot find a wheel that fits. There's no other wheel that fits that car. So the car just keeps bumping, and some days you can put a wheel on it and it'll go again for a day or so, and think, okay, and the next day the wheel falls off again, and you're dragged back down. That's just what it is.
And often you have to walk away from a lot of relationships that work for you before you became bereaved, but they don't work for you after.
Yeah. But I think it's important as well when people watch this. I think it's important to see that raw honesty, Pete. Yeah. Because that's the reality of the situation, isn't it?
I've got a friend in Liverpool, Tim, and he lost his wife a few weeks ago, 2 months ago, and he said yesterday, somebody said to him, are you not over it yet?
Oh, these quotes.
Because they want you back, they probably want the old Tim back, they want the old Peter back.
They think they'll snap you out of it. Well, you'll be alright.
I think like a human thing, it's almost like, when someone's like, obviously the terminal or something else, and
yes.
then, like, people are sort of, they don't want them to die, or they're praying, if you like.
Yeah.
But it's almost like, it's not false, But what they're doing is they're praying because you don't want to be in pain. You don't want to lose them.
Yeah, it is. That's very true. It is.
Do you know what I mean?
You don't want your life to change.
Yeah, because there is. Things are going to change.
Yeah.
And
we don't like change as humans, do we?
No.
We're creatures of habit.
No. And again, I can imagine with grief and how you lose people makes a big difference to the sessions.
Yeah.
And that's why, again, I agree with you. I don't believe you... Because if you lost a wife and you've been together for 25, 30 years and this kind of thing, that is going to be completely different to a mum whose son takes his own life.
Yeah.
It's death, but but you know, you wouldn't probably try and tell them how to feel. It's just different.
Yeah,
and I suppose the only people who can is people who understand it, like yourself.
Yeah.
And I think that's why your organisation is going to be so powerful.
Yeah.
For people.
Yeah. Definitely. They can relate. They know they're coming to an organisation that we've been through it. Like I say, Peter with his wife.
I think not only does your organisation sound amazing, I'm so surprised, as in or disappointed in a way that you don't hear of many places.
No, you don't. That. There aren't many. That's why.
Like if you would have said to me before you've come here today, Kev, where I don't know. Do you know what I mean? And again, I can only relate to I think a lot of people when they do lose someone, they're literally sat at home, probably on their own.
Yeah.
And which is probably again, where I can imagine that to be one of the worst things. Like if you've got nowhere to turn to, or
it's just that after the funeral, we had a wake. Everybody was with me. I go back home, open the door. It's empty. Where a house that was full of life and energy and laughter and fun was empty, and it was in that realisation it's going to be like this every day. So now what I do? Well, for the first 7 or 8 months, after I'd finished work at night, I wouldn't go home. I'd sit on a car park, like I was to car park till 10 o'clock at night. Sometimes I'll still do that now. I've got a new car park now, which is Sainsbury's. So I'll just go and visit my mum who's in a nursing home, 6 o'clock, drive to Sainsbury's car park, get a sandwich and sit in the car park. Just put the radio on, not go home.
And the thing is, while you're sat there, Pete, the whole world's going by. You know, any of us could have been driving past you, not knowing the pain that person's in.
Yeah. Always be nice to people.
Did you know what?
Yeah.
I remember reading this thing, and there was a fella, and he was on his way to kill himself. And he said, if someone smiles at me, just one person smiles at me before I get to the bridge, I won't do it.
Wow, that just shows, doesn't it?
Killed himself.
The importance of all.
And he left a note, and just that random act of just, are you okay? Do you know, obviously we're not okay, but a smile, or because we don't know what someone else is going through, do we?
No, not a clue.
And it upsets me, the pain that people are going through this, and everyone else is just getting on with their life, and because we go through these stages in our life, like when we're in our early 20s, we think we're invincible.
Yeah, I know. It's mad, isn't it?
Because I worked on myself a few days after she died, Louisa died, and the days of disbelief had set in the folder, and Pete, my project, how far? And you'd have to go back into professional mode. And
it was tough.
Caring about anything became nothing.
Just don't care, do you?
Can I ask, because you two are probably the main two people who you can ask, the old saying, it gets easier with time. And I don't want to sort of give people false hope when, because if that's not your experience. Because people say, as time goes by, is that true or is that not true?
I just look at Victoria Strait when she can talk about her boy, where I can't.
Right.
And I was like Peter at this stage.
There is a...
I think it gets soft. I think the edges get soft.
Yeah.
That's grief, and you grow round it.
Right, okay.
You learn to live with it.
It's not a problem to be solved.
No. I do ask for my own... I'm thinking, obviously I told you before about my friend who took his life.
Yeah.
And I think about his parents, and at the time his mom was so strong.
Yeah.
His dad, Barry, if I could have picked him up. But
when it happened.
Yeah.
So the adrenaline.
So even the first, because it's still fresh. It's only been 15, you know what I mean? So So, and Annette, his wife, she seemed to be the strong one who was coping with it. But then what's happened is, I think in the last couple of, it's hit her now, and she ended up having to go into hospital.
Yeah.
And it's hit her.
Yeah. It normally is after the funeral, and then X number of weeks later, when reality sets in, everyone's gone back to their own life who was supporting you. That's when it really kicks in.
Like when you said before about going home and it's... But then I'm thinking of them when I'm thinking this, and I'm thinking, like, it doesn't matter what they do, he's not going to come back.
No, it's not coming back.
And
that's the brutality of it.
Yeah, that cuts deep, that bit.
Yeah.
That really does hurt, that bit, I think.
I remember the first night after the funeral, I went round the rooms. What have you got? What have you got? That's when I knew I'd stepped into this other part of me, that the pre-death didn't even know that there was a door, a key, a handle into this other room of emptiness and pointlessness.
Although different, you both went through this show. You know the period, like when your wife would have been really ill, leading up to her death, and you're with Luca. You're in a different mode then, aren't you? Like you said, so you're sort of like just doing everything you can to try and... Are you okay? Is there anything I can do?
That's anticipatory grief you're going through then. You know they're going to die at
that stage, I don't think you... I don't know, but at that stage, are you actually even ever considering the fact that...
I wasn't. I was in... The stage of cancer that Louise was at, she was at home. We got a hospital bed in. The local hospice said they had no beds. They said they get a local care company to come and look after her 4 times a day. But we know what's happened to the NHS and care agencies. Every day the lovely nurse from the hospice would ring and say, we've got no firm can come in, there's nobody got capacity. So to the end it was just me and Louise, every night, every day, every night. And she died horrifically. You don't just slip away, it's not some Hollywood film, where somebody closes your eyes. And she died horrifically. And at 5 o'clock in the morning, after not sleeping for I don't know how many nights trying to care for her, I rang her both daughters. I remember saying to them, this is the horror of it, I remember saying to them, can you come soon and can you bring as many towels as you can? And then 7 o'clock in the morning, just looking at myself and the 2 daughters, she just very gently gasped her last gasp, and that she gone. And I remember, I still feel guilty about it, that I left the bed and I sat on the couch, and because I was beyond tired, and I kept thinking I could save her. It wasn't like she's going to die, and I think I was going to save her. So I remember sitting on the couch so tired, I just fell asleep until the nurse came. Until the nurse from one of her daughters must have rang, and the nurse came. I think I'd just been asleep on the couch for an hour, 2 hours. Even after all this had happened, I was so completely
exhausted.
And then you have to pick up the phone, start ringing friends, start ringing the hospital Christie's to tell them she died because she had another appointment coming up, and then start to ring for a funeral.
Can I just ask Peter, so at this time, had you already been diagnosed with your own medical condition, or did this come after?
No, I've been diagnosed with this. So Louise, I'd go to every Christie's appointment with Louise while she had a chemo, and then when I went to the Walton Centre of the Neurological Centre, she'd come with me. And then the week after she died, because I've got a very rare illness, I remember a week after she died, I'm sat on the car park and the phone rang, and it was my doctor's secretary to say, because you've got such a rare illness, we're having a seminar at Liverpool. Some of the top neurosurgeons are coming to it. Would you mind coming along? She said, and I just had a breakdown. So the lovely doctor, he asked me to go in next week, and because he'd met her every time. She was such a colourful girl. She wore bright yellows and reds and big colours. And he could not. He said, I had no idea. I said, no, she just hid it very well. Whoa. And so it was. So now when I go to an appointment, just to go on my own is strange. Yeah. She was so supportive. But yeah, I remember, because I've lost really the use of this arm. She was only 5 stone when she died, and I couldn't lift her out. I had to try to move her up the bed because she'd slide down the bed, and I couldn't lift her up. It was tough times.
And can I just ask Pete, because listen, I can see it's still raw. Have you allowed yourself that space yet where you can look back at the the memories and the marriage and the children.
All of that was just it was just a wonderful time. So it's just like I could see people planning things, wanting to go on holiday, and just from my point of view, and I just say, because all I can say is we've only got the now. There's only the right now. I don't want any of that.
Yeah.
No. What's your plans for the future, Peter? No, no plans. What's your goals? No goals.
No.
So what do? I'm just focusing on now, breathing in, breathing out. Tomorrow I'll breathe in, breathe out. How's today going? It's the best day of my life. Why? Because I'm alive. What will tomorrow be? It'll be the best day of my life because I'm alive. And this is part of me. The more I think about it, the more it. It's just it is what it is.
And there'll be people out there, won't there, who are in a similar position to yourself.
Yeah.
Who have been diagnosed with a period of time to live and all this kind of stuff.
And that's a huge loss in itself.
Because how do you get your head round that?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Learning from Richard, that is a loss as well, which you don't think about.
No.
Yeah.
The stuff I could do, I've been 40 years in martial arts, I've got black belts, I was doing my taekwondo, started that. I cannot do
Running was a big part, isn't it?
I cannot do anything now.
Huge losses.
And if you want us to as well, so is there a way we can sort of promote or mention your illness to raise awareness of it? And all that kind of stuff as well, because I think the more people that know about this,
that would be incredible.
Exactly, that's what I mean. So even more so. Do you know what I mean?
So I just tell people it's Parkinson's. It's just easy.
Yeah. But if we can put a little link there to that opens up so people can find out more information.
Yeah.
And heaven forbid if there's someone else out there who suffers with it, bloody hell, who
that
better to
would
talk
be
to? If you're in a position to do that as well. And do you see yourself in the short term maybe able to doing a bit of counselling, or is that not what?
No, at the moment I couldn't hear somebody's story.
No, that's
not. Look at the website and you see Luca. We'll see what.
Yeah. Okay. We'll do that. I'm sorry. Yeah. Well.
Sorry to bring it all down.
No, listen. One of the reasons why I wanted to set up this platform was to give a voice.
Yeah.
It was always about that. It was always about real people's lives and sharing that with others. And your story actually is probably the first one in 14, 15 months, which is where this platform was supposed to be.
Oh, well, that's incredible.
It has.
Yeah.
Because, listen, I've openly said this. I know there's a place for conspiracy theory, all that stuff.
Yeah.
Listen, there is a place for it.
Yeah.
But ultimately, it's like, but where does it get you? Whereas, for me, if you put your energy into creating something like the Luca Foundation, like that you're doing, or Forever Luca, for me, why don't people put their energy into that?
Yeah.
I mean, we could all find out tomorrow the truth behind, this incident in the world and that incident in the world, and then what people are going to turn around and say, oh, you were right.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
What does it matter?
Down to?
Do you know what I mean? But this kind of thing, this is giving a voice to what I mean.
Help many people.
And I know, I mentioned to you about Elise. She does the healing frequencies, the solfeggio, and apparently, I don't know if you know this, but there's different frequencies from 174 all the way up to 9, whatever, and each frequency is for different things: healing, relaxation, de-stress. You know that?
Yeah.
And again, so people will get a lot.
Yeah.
So that might be something
really
to, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'd really have a watch of that one if you get a chance.
Yeah.
And also as well, reach out to Elise because she's got a heart of gold.
Okay.
And I know she's somebody who would probably be really, she's Manchester based.
Okay.
I think she was, because again, all I'm saying is, like there might be people out there who say, I'm not into that.
Yeah, exactly. We're all different.
Do you know what? I can listen. I can sit there and listen to classical music.
Yeah.
And that's what it is in a way. It's a vibration and frequency what resonates with the body.
Yes.
And it breaks down blockages and it.
No.
Some people
music
will
is very
resonate
healing.
with that.
I always have to have music on, and that heals me. Certain songs.
Yeah. So again, even just though chatting, you think of all these little things that could open up.
Yeah. No. It's amazing, isn't it? How many possibilities are out there.
Yeah. What you're doing is amazing. I'm so glad of it.
Thank you.
Yeah,
I think
thank you. Yeah.
what you've done is amazing.
Looking at your magical unicorn, but
the card.
yeah, I
can
love
do your
the
card.
unicorn.
Well, but, I mean, what I'll do is when we feel what's called, if you're open to it, we can have a look if there's any energy around you and if I can pick anything up. If you're up for it, if you're open to it.
I am. I don't know.
Well, I mean, like as we're sat here, all I can tell you is if I'm getting anything.
Yeah,
Do you know what I mean?
No, that'll be good.
And ultimately, as well, if I know what spirit's like, and if they didn't feel that it was right, it wouldn't happen anyway because they would know you're not ready.
I get you.
They're very. They're thinking from a different angle from us.
Yes.
And again, I don't want to give any false hope. All I can do is try and see what happens.
Yeah.
Okay. But if you're open to that, and let's have a little. Yeah.
I am.
So, okay. All I would ever say to it is, first of all, is one, ask for your permission, right? Because for me, you wouldn't go up and take something out to someone else's shopping bag. So you're asking for permission to connect with the person's energy, with their loved ones, that kind of stuff. And then all I would say to a person is like, okay, just spend a moment and just in your thoughts and about the person or whatever. And then, but again, so if nothing happens, don't take it as any, reason. It's just maybe not today.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Maybe what happened in the shower this morning is enough for
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But let's so let's see what happens. Okay, this is the first thing what comes into my energy, what I want to talk about. At this stage, I do feel like more I want to come to yourself, Peter. Okay, but this and I'll tell you why, because as it's come in, the what I'm seeing is I'm seeing Mickey and Minnie, right? And what it's making me feel is they're identical. They're both the same. Like one's male, one's female, but they're just great free, like you know what I mean. But what's called I need to talk about. They're putting the white glove on, right? And it's almost like a feeling like I'm scared to touch certain things. I don't want to break them or to dust them, or there's something that's again. So the way I feel that's going, that might be even in your home. Certain things haven't been touched because you're scared to touch them or move them or whatever. There's some, you know what I mean? So, again, what our class as well is, this at this stage, by the way, this is not spirit coming close. This is psychic energy. So basically around you, there's information and it's filling my mind where I'm seeing something. Okay, so that's where it started to lead. I'm just going to carry on watching that. And also I will say this, Craigie. Okay, so as we're talking as well, I can see a big cross here with Jesus on, and it's making me feel like someone's who's Catholic or something. There's something going on here. I can see this big cross, and I can just see Jesus here with his head here like this, and so it's just anyway. Okay. And I do love Jesus, by the way. I've got to be honest. I'm not religious, but big shout out to JC. I do have a soft spot for him. JC. So, okay, I'm just going to acknowledge as well because I can. Right, okay. In the background here, I've got ABBA playing, right? Mama, how does it feel to win the war? And I can feel ABBA coming close to me, and the music. Oh, crikey! Someone look at this, dear. Okay, so I know someone's on the way. They're trying to come through, and that's they come through music and lyrics and that kind of thing. So let's see where that leads. Pete, I've got to come back to you, right? The man that's in front of me. And I know, obviously, that's not Peter. Peter was... Would I be right in saying you were always goofing around, laughing and joking? Really... Because they're making me feel like... like the character Goofy. And he's like, I always wanted to just be funny and just making everybody laugh. I think you'd be like a great granddad. This kind of thing. And someone's making me feel like that's not Pete. That's not the Pete. No. The real Peter is Goofy. The real Peter would be jumping around and okay. Very true. And that's true. Because of what they do is as well, and I'll just let you know as well what I'm watching. So, and I can feel it, and I only can ask people to believe what I'm seeing. I'm seeing like a sheet of glass, but it's actually like a waterfall. And on this side, I've got Minnie, which I believe is your wife. But I'm not going to say that at the moment. I'm going to wait. Right. This side I've got Mickey, which I believe is you. And what they're doing is, they're kissing, right? And they're only separated by this veil of water or this glass, but they're still touching each other, they're still kissing each other. And also, so like I won't be surprised if you kiss a certain photo every night or something like that, because that's the kind of what they're sharing. There'll be more in what I'm seeing than just that. That, like I said, they're trying to tell you a load of things at the same time. So it's almost like you're both there, but you're only separated by this thin piece of water or glass. They're literally there.
Yeah.
Okay, and then that's where I feel like the dancing at the ABBA, and then it's almost the saying like, look, that's not the real piece. So the energy's building, like there's something coming through. Okay. I will what's called as well for some reason, because in the background there I can see the Las Vegas lights. So I don't know why, but I can see Las Vegas lights in the background, you know, the logo. So there must be a reason why I can see that in the background as well. Okay. So
got married in Vegas.
Listen, but there'll be a reason why it's in the energy, okay? Because I can see the Las Vegas lights in the background. Was you also the adrenaline junkie, Pete? Right. Who would do like the paragliding?
Well, I would try. Louise wouldn't.
Did you actually do it though? Because it's almost like I'm watching it and it's like he would do that, like the adrenaline junkie. Okay, so and because I was going two things that could have been either one, you actually did do it. Two, that's the kind of person you were, right? Because I'll tell you for why. As I'm seeing someone on the hang glide, I'm also seeing Goofy, and what they're actually making because what they're saying is that's you, but it's not you. Mm-hmm. Do you know what I mean? And that's what they're telling me. But also as well. But that what wouldn't surprise me there is if there's also an event like raising money or charity where like someone's done a hang gliding, jumped out of a plane, bungee, you know, that kind of thing. Yeah. That wouldn't surprise me either when they're showing me what I'm seeing.
Yeah, my friend jumped out of a plane last week.
Wow.
Okay.
Oh my God.
Okay. And so, okay. I'm gonna just say the word because someone's just right. What's with the green lights? What's with the green lights? Right? And I'm just going to say that because that's what they're saying, right? And it's like the traffic lights are always on green. What's with the green light? Right now...
Is this for Peter?
I don't know yet. Because you sat together, I'm just picking up on energy.
I get you.
Right, but also as well, that's also a signal for me to say it's safe to go forward. Right? Because I always ask, if I'm going in the right direction and what I'm doing, send me the green lights. And someone's just said to me, and I can see it in front of me, the green traffic light. So if it means something to you, great. If it's symbolical, it's like it's spirit of giving permission. You're on the right track. Green light, go forward with it. Okay. So if there was a decision that's been pondering on your mind, should I do something? Should I do that?
Yeah.
Okay. Pete, can I just ask? Have you been thinking about selling the house?
No.
Someone's making me feel there's thoughts or something about selling a house or a property or something like that.
Thinking about moving.
Thinking about moving. Hey, listen, sell the house, move. I'm going to take that as... Would you understand that's why you need the green light? Have you been asking if that's the right thing? Okay. That's, for me, let's see where they're going. So it's almost like permission. That's the right decision, yeah. And then also they're saying the house sale, house move. I can take that. Okay. Who went to the Alps? Who actually went to the mountains? Have you ever been?
Yeah.
In the past, have you been to the mountains? Have you been to the Alps?
Switzerland.
Yeah. The Toblerone and the Switzerland. Okay.
Yeah.
that again, so it's coming in, and I'm like, okay, why do you want me to mention Toblerone? And they say, mention the mountains to her. Mention the... Okay, so someone's let me know a reason, again, why I need to acknowledge that. Okay, so let's... And also as well, something else might come, or someone you're not expecting might pop in, by the way. Don't think it's always going to be the...
Louise and Luca.
Do you know what I mean? Because also where you might not be ready for that. Do you know what I mean? So we just have to trust.
Okay.
Let me just ask you as well. Okay. So this is me just asking you a question, Pete. Right, so your wife, did you say Louisa? Louise, sorry. She was your second wife then, was she?
Yeah.
Okay. People should see what I'm seeing. He says, do you know? Do you want me to explain to what they showed me there? Right. Okay. Because there'll be more information than you realise. Right. So they've showed me Camilla. Right.
So that's a sign.
Right. And I know that's his second wife.
Oh,
right.
My goodness.
But that's not the message, because what they're showing me, they want me to talk about the ring, and it's on a chain. Right. So it's like, someone's put someone's wedding ring on a chain, or there's something to do with the wedding ring or the ring. There's something I need to acknowledge it, or even someone might have got buried with their ring, or there's something they're letting me know about that. Okay. But that again, the way it's come through, it's like, look, I was his second wife. That's okay.
Yeah.
So can you imagine saying that to someone and then?
Yeah, I know. No, it's fascinating.
There's a thing around you. Victorious, Vicky. Okay. Do you know you can buy these toys where when you're in the dark, all the stars and that are on the...
Yeah.
Someone's putting one of them in front of me. So it's like they're acknowledging the toy and the music being played and the thing going round.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm watching that at the moment. Okay, so again, there's a few different things going on.
Yeah.
Again, there's two... It's because you probably sat there to go, okay. So, right, okay. Yeah. Obvious, I know, but they're making me feel like if you was a Kit Kat, snapped in half, broken, completely broken, okay, and they're acknowledging that, okay, which is obvious because I know I've been talking with you, but that's what they're saying. Over here, I gotta be honest, I think your lad would he have had really almost like jet black hair? Would it have been dark?
My dad did, not Luca.
Would he have when he got older though?
I don't think so. It was my colour. I don't.
It seems...
Unless he dyed it.
No. Because as I'm watching it, I want to acknowledge sort of the dark hair, but as I'm watching the energy there, I'm just seeing one of these little things what you used to put the babies in and rock them.
Oh yeah.
A bouncy thing.
Yes.
Yeah. So I've got these lights here, and I can just see this little baby in one of these little bouncers.
Yeah, his hair when he was a baby he was born with a lot of hair, and it was quite black. Well, blacky dark when he was in one of them little bouncers.
Right. Okay. So
yeah,
so
he had one.
If either that's someone showing me a memory, or there'll be a photo of it, or something.
Yes, I've got a photo with him in his little rocker thing, and he did have quite dark hair then, but it went this colour.
They're not wrong. I'll tell you that.
That's
now.
right. That is right.
Right. You might make me look stupid, but I know they're not wrong.
No.
They're not. Yeah. Again, so like I said, it'll be a photo or a memory. The fact that they're telling me it's normally a photo.
Yeah, he had a little thing above called Jean. We used to call it. That's funny.
And I will say, I do what's it called as well. Somewhere around your family, there will be something that sounds like Sebastian, Sebastian. So there's a like that as well.
That was going to be his middle name.
Oh.
He was literally going to be called Luca Sebastian. At the last minute, we called him Luca James.
Okay, but only you would know that.
Yeah, no one ever would know that.
Yeah, but they know that. Trust me.
Because I used to like Sebastian Loeb, the rally driver. Yeah, that no one ever knew that. That's weird.
There's still what's called. I know you mentioned before you got married in Vegas, but there is an American thing going on as well.
Yeah.
Because it's almost, I think it is American. It's Cape Verde or Cape. There's Cape, and also as well. Where's the place where they take the shuttles off from?
Oh my goodness, been there.
You've been there.
Yeah, me and Luca's dad did a 3-month trip across America, and we watched a launch. We literally watched the launch.
That's what I'm watching. I'm watching the launch.
Yeah, it was a
I'm
launch.
literally watching the launch.
Yeah.
Right. Okay, this is interesting. This is interesting. So is that before or after his death?
That's before.
That's how good spirits are.
Yeah, that is literally...
Right. How can they tell you stuff?
Yeah.
You know, and listen, just going off track as well. Years before... when I was young, I thought I couldn't have children.
I was about 23 then when that happened. Yeah.
Right, okay. But just quickly, just so you know.
Yeah.
So I was lying on a couch one day and I was just looking out the window. The whole window went black and it was light outside. In the distance, I saw 2 people walking towards me. A little boy, a little girl, a couple of years between them. When they got up to the window, they knocked on the window and they said, "We're coming. We're going to be yours." And we thought we couldn't have children at the time. And 5 years later, we had a little boy. And 2-3 years after that, we had a little girl.
Oh my
They
God.
told me years.
So they had chosen you as the
Yeah,
parents.
they said, "We're coming. You're going to be our dad."
So
when I tell you, like, people have got no idea what this world is and what's going on. It's unbelievable.
No, that who would know that America thing? You know what I mean? That is weird.
Spirit know it. Trust me.
Yeah.
I should get back into this.
Yeah, you too. Like,
Quality.
Yeah, no, you
Do you
do.
know what as well? I love it. That's the thing.
Like, who would know? Like, how many people have watched a launch? Not many. And it was random. We turned up at this campsite in our camper van right by NASA to go round the next day and said, "Oh, we've got a launch today because it'd been cancelled the other week." And it was a miracle. We watched this launch, unmanned launch. That doesn't matter, but
this is the thing. You can't put a price on. You know, when I'm watching this stuff and that, honestly, it's such a buzz. It's like it's like the best drug you've ever took.
Wow.
I'm just going off track again. I remember, during a healing session once, Jesus come in and he healed this girl for me. I was doing a healing session. I honestly, you don't believe what happened. But anyway.
Yeah.
So he come in behind me and he showed me what happens and how it feels when you die. Right. And he picked me up and he walked me into a warm, swimming pool of water. And I just remember thinking, if this is what it feels like when you die, I can take that.
Yeah.
It's like us travelling into that light there. It's just a buzz of peace. But it's just a buzz of peace. There's nothing. It's just peace. It's beautiful. And then he healed this girl in front of me. And I shit you not. She had her trainers on and everything. And he basically put his hand over her feet. And all these little goblins started jumping off. And honestly, people, I've thought, get their white jackets, right? All these little goblins. But this was amazing. This is what was amazing, right? As the goblins were coming off, right, they were turned into lambs, right?
Oh, right.
And then bouncing off, right? Now, obviously, I'm symbolic. So obviously, Jesus was showing me symbolically, I'm removing the infection and the injury, and I'm healing it. But I didn't know this at the time. So after the session ended, the mom of the girl who was in the room, she went, "Take your shoes off and show him." And I was like, "Why? What's going on?" And she took her shoes off and everything else, and her feet were covered in all these warts and verrucas and everything. And she'd been under the hospital for treatment for about 5 years. 2 weeks later, she got discharged, gone. Gone.
Heck.
And you're just like... Now, obviously, you could say, oh, maybe the medication started working.
No, I doubt that.
Listen,
bloody hell, not with freaking.
Miracles. Honestly, I don't... if we end up talking about me, it'll be forever. I'm so bad. I'm sorry. Come on, let's see what else we get here.
Imagine you in a counselling session. It'd be like the whole day. They'd have to book you in.
Do you know, this don't lie. I went for this when I was going through a difficult period.
Yeah.
I went for counselling, right?
Yeah.
And I sat with this woman, and I sat down and I said, I think I'm going mad. And she says, why? I said, I'm having all these spiritual experiences and everything. You know what she said? Can you tell me anything? And I ended up giving her a reading, right? I sat in this counsellor's office, give her a reading, and I left and I thought...
She'd be paying you, shouldn't she?
Anyway, I was laughing my head off. Anyway. This is nice. Okay. I'm watching someone's wedding, by the way, okay, so just so you know what I'm watching, so and there'll be see, this is how good spirit are, right? I'm actually watching, you know, when the bride and groom are walking back out of the church, right? There'll be a reason why they're showing it me like that. They're not stood at the front. They're not being they're actually showing me. Do you remember the programme Neighbours? Yeah. They're actually showing me Charlene and Scott's wedding, right? From Neighbours. So I know, as I'm feeling it, I either need to acknowledge the names could be relevant. I need to acknowledge someone got married in the 80s, 1984. You know, it's there'll be a relevance, but now I have to unravel what they're trying to tell me. Okay, so and that's what I'm watching. So when you think of what's he doing, I'm watching a movie. But I tell you for what, and this one I'm trying to work out what I'm seeing. So this I know it sounds silly, but I'm actually watching someone. They've just given birth, right, and they're putting the baby on the chest, right. Mm-hmm. But as I'm watching it, instead of a baby, I can see the candle from Beauty and the Beast.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
So first of all, I need to know what the name of that candle is because I don't know. Again.
Oh yes, I know. I can't think. I've watched it.
But again, so this is where sometimes I'll go home and I'll be looking stuff up. I'll be like, what was they trying to explain to me?
Yeah. What's the candle's
Do you know what I mean?
name in Beauty and the Beast? Yeah.
And also again, so I know there's a reference what they're acknowledging there. Okay. Can I ask which one of the kids? If you're the one who's had the kids.
Yeah.
Which one literally like popped out before you even had the chance to get your pants off, kind of thing?
Maya, the last one. It was like
because I know it sounds graphic. I know
it was like a horror movie, The Birth.
Because what they're showing me, you've not even got your pants off and it's out.
She literally, she gave birth down Ormscott Hospital ward, and it was like a massacre, blood splattered the walls.
Honestly, and this is
it was horrendous.
I don't need to see that, but all I would say is there's a reason why the baby is the candle.
Yeah, what?
Right, again, it'll either be the personality of in the character of the film, or it'll be the name is relevant. Because what I'm doing is, as they put the baby on your chest here, it's turned into the candle from Beauty and the Beast. It could even be, hey, listen, I'm not being what.
Yeah.
If she come out and you thought, what the bloody hell's that? Right?
I know what you mean.
It could be anything like that.
Like a little monkey.
It's just me trying to interpret what they're
we've watched Beauty and the Beast. I can't think what the blooming candle's called.
Would you know someone around you? I think he's older than. Would you know someone called Eddie?
A long time ago.
Old fella.
Oh man.
Okay. God, Eddie's just come in as a turtle, dead slow, dead like, oh, Eddie's here. And that's the way he's come in. He's like, oh, Eddie's here. Oh, they make me laugh, honestly. They crack me up. I love it, honestly. I should get paid for doing this job. I love it.
That's what you need to be doing, I'm telling you.
Oh, crikey.
Don't you?
It's like stand-up comedy. Yeah. It's like, do you know what? I shouldn't stop really. I should just watch it, but it's so funny. So like I'm watching here, and I can see this turtle, and he's coming in, and he goes, Eddie's here. So, it's like so I know. And I go, so this is what I said as well. So you know the fact that he's not only coming slow. That'll be a reference to.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Now, ultimately, people might say like, "Oh, you're trying to make it fit or piece it together," but I know what spirit they're explaining something.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
It's all in code.
There's so much more. But now I find because it's like as I'm sat there, how is your energy or your head being filled with this information? And I just find it incredible. Do you know what I mean? That's what I just wish people appreciate it as much as I do, because I think it's ace.
Yeah, it is. It's incredible.
Okay, I'm going to wrap it up there, but I'm going to wrap it up with, because I feel it's for Peter, this last little bit of information, and because I feel like I've got like a love story going on, right? And I feel like I've got like the Sound of Music, and I've got the hills are alive, and the mushrooms, their identity, and the happiness and swinging. Something. It's that. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
and someone's just making me feel like it really was a love story. It really was
the real deal.
Do you know what I mean? And they're just giving me that real happiness feeling of like real love, if you like. And so I think that's just a nice.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Okay, I know, because when I'm watching there, I can see the I can the hills are alive and all this and I can see the woman and all that. But what was lovely, I can see these two mushrooms, and they say good spirit. So I can see these two mushrooms, and what they've done, they've intertwined and wrapped around each other. Right. Now that's another thing is, because don't be surprised if like that could be an ornament. Or you'll come across it, or do you know what I mean? They're very good at showing you something like that, and it also because what it's so weird. Like everything in our lives is symbolic information, or we're surrounded by information.
Yeah.
You know, that's where I can.
It is,
when people say we're living in some kind of matrix, if you like, and I know that's whatever, but there is some truth in that.
Yeah.
We are sort of living in this dream world, which unfortunately is run by emotions, feelings. But we are spirit in a meat suit, and essentially, you know, I think we're in a meat suit, and
we're a vessel, aren't we?
Yeah, and emotions and feelings have a lot to answer for.
Yeah, I'm telling you. Yeah.
I think everyone's different. Yeah. Listen, I've had people who have come for a reading. I've told them stuff all about the funeral, what happens, the fact that a swan comes out the where they spread the ashes and chases him. And
chases him.
And then basically he sat in front of me and he went, "She's still on the slab. We've not buried her." And then what happened is a couple of weeks later,
that happens.
They scattered the ashes. The swan chased him, and you're just like, what the fuck's happening? My friend Kelly, who took a life, I told you about, she come to see me, and we shared the same birthday, November 28th. And we hit it off from day one. She could sell ice to Eskimos. She was the greatest salesperson you'd ever meet, honestly. She was ace, right? And light up a room, and she come to me and she'd been to America, right? Had a reading with this woman in America, paid thousands of pounds for it, believed everything that the woman had told her, come home, divorced her husband, left her job, everything. Right, turned her life upside down on the back of this woman telling her she was going to be the next Oprah Winfrey.
Oh my God!
Right, which is dangerous because you have got a responsibility.
Yeah.
Then from that, she ended up dating this other fella, and she come to my bakery. It was the bakeries at the time before I turned into Love and Light, and she come and we was having a barbecue, and she introduced me to this fella, and I was just like, "You don't end up with him." And anyway, she went, "Well, you don't end up with him." I said, "You end up with someone called Neil." I says, "And he lives at number 4. I says, "His ex-wife's gay." I says, "He's got Buddha pictures on the walls." I said, "You'll know." Anyway, about a year and a half, 2 years later, she's on a date, and she pulls into the street, and she stops the car, and she went, "Do you live at number 4? And he went, "Yeah." And his name was Neil. And she went, "Have you got Buddhas on your wall?" And he went, "Yeah." And she went, "Is your wife gay?" And he went, "Yeah." He said, "How'd you know this?" He went, "My friend Kev told me 2 yeyears ago all this was going to happen." Exactly.
Oh my God.
So it's like...
Yeah, it's predicting.
It's honestly... People... I'm still learning it. It's unbelievable.